Strap yourselves in, kids, because we got a real podcast for you today. We got our boy Cacique Jakar on here.
Good Lord, man. What a great one.
It's fucking great. It was a marathon, bro.
Yeah, 100% was a marathon.
Yeah, but we touched on all kinds of great stuff. I mean, why he hates the Beatles, because that's just what he wants to do.
Just like referencing the very last thing we talked about.
And then, yeah.
for the shortest amount of time.
Yeah, right? He just hates the Beatles.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. He's also playing this dope-ass guitar thing going on behind us right now.
Guitar thing?
But it's... No, it was an awesome conversation because he guys got a lot of great stuff going on with his band. A lot of talk about his experience in Nashville. I mean, it was such a all-encompassing conversation. We got into some really great spaces, I thought.
And I still felt like we could keep on going for another like 3 hours.
But we got a whole nother podcast coming with this dude for sure.
Absolutely, man. Another time for sure.
Hell yeah. So, tune in, enjoy the episode. Let us know what you think in the comments, and see you guys on the other side.
New episode of Bottom of the Bill starts now.
This is Bottom of the Bill, where we talk about the modern grind of a musician.
Album cycle.
Hold on, Bill. Give me a second, man. Because we don't know what we're talking about.
Spotify playlist.
You keep interrupting me. That's not how we discussed it. Just give me a second, man. We invite established artists
Festival lineups.
Can I just get my stuff out real quick? We invite established artists on to share their strategy to success.
Marketing strategies.
The premier do-it-yourself podcast.
Hashtag DIY.
Ah, screw it. This is Bottom of the Bill.
All right.
That's fine.
So,
Latido.
never gets old when you do that.
That's a great music joke, and no one ever gets it.
Latido, yeah, do re mi fa sol.
And people do that. Like, go, so you just harmonize with
So
us.
Latido, yeah.
Latido.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's funny. It's lots of fun. Never
You can
gets
go
old.
backwards. Solfege is just a barrel of monkeys.
What?
Solfege. That's what that's called.
A barrel of monkeys?
Oh my God, no, the do re mi.
I know what solfege is. I'm saying, what's the barrel of monkeys reference come from?
You never heard that term?
No.
That's more fun than a barrel of monkeys.
I've heard.
Oh, you're saying that it's more fun than a barrel of monkeys. Sorry. Whoops.
Welcome back, everybody.
Anyways,
Coming in
Cacique,
hot today on a Tuesday.
Cacique, thanks for being on the podcast, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah. Cheers, by the way. I gotta bring
Yeah,
the
cheers.
back.
I don't.
So wait. Since he's Cuban, let's do it the real way. So let's arriba, pa abajo, pa dentro, pa centro. Okay. Oh,
You're
wait,
more-
this was-
You're more Cuban than I am, apparently, because I don't know any of that shit.
No, that's just the.
I think that was Colombia, man.
No, I wasn't. That's just the. Everybody does that.
Billy he's from Kentucky. So
Born
he
and
has
raised. Want to fight about it?
no awareness of Latin cultures.
The amount of people I know from Louisville and Lexington.
That's where I'm from, Lexington.
Oh man,
Yeah.
The mall. Y'all got a good like mall circuit.
Hell yeah, we got a good mall circuit.
That's about all they
It's
got.
it's almost better than like. Oh, I don't want to say that like it's better than Atlanta's malls, but you know.
Yeah, we got a good
It's
mall
cool.
circuit.
Lexington's cool.
We also have a life-size replica of Noah's Ark, stocked to the brim with two of everything, including dinosaurs.
Damn, I just fell asleep.
And that was funded. It was funded by the government too.
That was a music podcast.
Cost like $8 million.
Sweet. Glad we got through that.
Yeah.
So what's been going on, man? How you been?
I've been, I guess I've just been. I just been being, I just been working a lot, been, trying to focus on projects and going through life all at the same time, which is, sort of, you ever go through like life and you look towards, okay, well, this will make a good piece of I can take something artistic out of this.
Yeah.
When I get there, that day, or when I am actually able to, formulate these thoughts into something beautiful, then that'll be nice.
You're going through a breakup or something?
No. It's just like, just life, life is, you start to get at certain ages and you start to think about, and you're faced with certain things too. And you just start to, it bends your brain more, And it's just like one of those things. I think, it's one of those periods. It's been one of those years for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you look towards like to see what creatively, what you get out of it. Yeah, sometimes it's like, man, fuck that. This is terrible, or this is great, or this is, or this is whatever. I'm going through it right now. I'm not going through it, but like you're going through whatever, whether it's positive or negative.
Right.
And then you look towards it and you go, okay, well, hopefully get some, decent out of this. I remember like hearing I don't know if you're familiar with Jessie Reyes.
Yeah.
She did like an interview or something like that, and she said, I don't write from anything that's positive. Like the positive stuff is for me. The stuff I go through, like that's what I write, and those are the songs you get. And I was like, that's real. It's kind of,
Yeah, art is supposed to be sad.
Kinda-
Not uplifting at
well,
all.
no. I was
supposed
like,
to
that's
come
kind of like cynical, but I get it. Like
Yeah.
she's like, that's for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of beautiful how she was like taking ownership of certain things. Like, no, this is mine, and what's for you is the other stuff.
Do you think the Wiggles are the same way?
The Wiggles?
They're like, I'm fucking just in a pit of despair, and I'm gonna write songs for children. I don't know.
I feel like I mean the Wiggles definitely are not, but I feel like there's definitely like artists that have an inclination to draw inspiration from certain things.
But yeah, it's like the moment that you have that kind of period in your life, you're like, yeah, this is like digging for gold, basically, writing some material.
Yeah, like
I think so.
Like I rarely come out of a good situation and I'm like, I gotta write a song about that.
Hell
That
no.
never happens to me.
Okay, so
Such a weird thing to say.
no, it's not. It's actually 100%. No, it's like this. Like there are times where when shit is good and things are good, it's good. And they say that's that old quote, like what's bad for your heart is good for your art, right? Well, there's things you can get out of good experiences. Like there's things that I'm able to but you find those songs come quick. Those songs come quick and they're cool, but not so deep. Okay. The things that you want to take time on or take time for you to conceptualize, that's the thing, because you're trying to say something. And not only are you trying to say something to an audience, or you're trying to convey something to others, but you're trying to say something to yourself.
Yeah, trying to work some shit out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. It's like you take that a little bit more seriously, because if you didn't, then, it's like paying homage to something that's changed you. Would you take that lightly? No, So it's one of those things.
I've written some positive songs about like acid trips after the fact.
Really?
You know what I mean?
I want to hear one of your positive songs.
You know what's
Well,
funny?
it doesn't sound positive.
You know-
It is positive.
You know what's so funny? And I don't mean to interrupt. You know what's so funny is that I've never, and a friend of mine, a guy I knew, he was playing banjo. He actually played banjo with me at Blue Jay Listening Room a few months ago. And we were talking after rehearsing, and we were having a drink or whatever. And he was like, so what songs what songs have you written like that when you fucked up? Like what songs have you written like when you fucked up on something, or like when you're drinking or whatnot, or whatever anybody's on? I'm like, I've never written a song like drunk or anything like that. Like I just like, okay, here's the thing. When it's party time, it's party time. So it's like not thinking about songwriting,
Of course, yeah.
and playing guitar, and because playing guitar, I take or music is the job, so I take it very seriously. I don't, when I'm when I'm going on stage or when I'm going to perform or do a gig, like a legit gig, there's no drink. That's the rule. It's always been that. And since it makes it easy because I was doing it before I could drink, even though I've been drinking since before I was allowed to drink.
Right.
It makes it easy for that, but it's like I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any of that stuff, because it's like I don't want to lose control. I want everything to be, coming from me. There's a thing I heard Jack White say, like he's never smoked marijuana. He was like, yeah, if it's something intense, I want to know it's coming from me. And then people are like, well, how do you deal with the nerves? Because obviously people drink, you meet musicians that have been playing way longer than I have, way longer than you have. And then they go, well, I drink because the nerves, or I play better when I'm drunk. And it's like, that's cool. But it's like, I'd rather face that anxiety or that nerve. And the nerves still get me.
Yeah.
Like I remember I played and this was not even in front of audience. There was people there, but it was like a live stream concert maybe sometime last year. And I got so nervous, like my lungs started to it felt like it was like started
Clamming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like to the point I'm shaking, but you can't see me shaking. I'm like, what's going on? So it's like even the nerves will get you as to how nervous you are. But it's like I've always had a thing about facing that without any substance, anything like that. Just because like the music is a high for me by itself. That's the high is playing. I don't need anything else. To get done. I could play if we had a jam all day or whatever. I'd go all day without eating.
Yeah.
All day without anything.
That's definitely true. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can definitely see that happening.
It's like it feeds me.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't like playing fucked up at all. Like maybe I like to.
It's
I'll play sober. I've played sober. Like that's fine. But when you're in those 4-hour bar gigs, like doing that sober, that's like, phew.
It's just
That's
I'll
painful.
Do it. I'll do
Yeah.
it. It's like
It's just painful. I'll do it.
I was playing bar gigs before I could drink at the bar.
Yeah.
And it was like, I guess I had no longing for it. And it's the same way. It's like drinking, period. Like, if I feel like drinking, I'll drink. If I don't, I don't.
right.
I'd play church gigs if you could bring a couple 40s in there or something. You know what I mean?
Church gig.
Yeah, I'd do church.
Church gigs, okay, whatever. It depends on the church gigs. Some church gigs are so electrifying, you don't need.
Oh,
to
no,
drink
no,
or
no,
drink
no,
to- You don't want to slip up.
No.
Like,
That's not the kind of church gig he's talking
No,
about.
I never got one of those gigs.
Okay.
I've always wanted one, but
nah, you man. Church musician.
I've always wanted one though.
Be fun, yeah.
I was playing for a Cuban church actually.
Not the same thing though.
Not the same thing.
No, not at all. It was Episcopalian.
Oh yeah, so
it was
it's boring.
yeah, it was so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this ain't like the gospel 4-chord. No, I'm talking
Nah.
about like those shout them.
That's a show,
yeah,
dude.
Those actual,
You should be allowed to drink at those services. I think
They do,
They
but
get-
not the musicians. The audience do.
everybody's as like BYOW at
They're
the
like-
church. Bring
they-
your own wine. Let's go.
Some of them,
Praise the Lord.
Some of them are like, it's either too hot to drink because the fans.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and everybody comes all dressed up, and then some people that are drinking that you just don't know. And they'd be like, hey, you'll know, like they'll be, oh, praise Jesus, and he's like, yeah, he enjoying that service,
Yes,
because that's what they're doing. They're pouring up or they pour it up. There's alcoholics that pregame church. Alcoholics
Oh,
pregame
yeah,
anything.
anything,
But like,
yeah.
I'm talking like people into their 70s.
Pre-game life, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking-
People
Yeah.
into their 70s walking in there like,
I'm just drawing on the
Took a
power of the Lord right now.
Yeah.
That's what I do. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually just pre-gaming my sleep tonight. So
Pre-gaming sleep. I think I'm pre-gaming.
Yeah.
I don't know, nothing actually. I don't. Dude, the thing about it is his thing. Pre-gaming, right? Never did that because never like really did that because when we would go to drink, it was like again drinking for
a purpose
was allowed to, right?
Yeah.
So it was like I didn't know what pre-gaming was, and it's like, oh, I knew what it was, but it's like we never did it because it's like, look, we're going somewhere to drink to the no point of return. Yeah, we can pre-game it if we want to, but like, and on top of that, like the liquor was there, and it's all, and then people pre-game club parties and whatnot, but it's like me, it's like I never did that kind of thing because like I was taught like as a grown man, you should not be drunk with your ass out in some random place or in public, period, because that's how you get taken advantage of. It's easy for, to overlook that sometimes and having a good time, having a party. But like, let's say we always drank in the house, so we had this dock actually we go to here in Orange Park.
what's the address? The exact address?
I'll invite y'all out. I really will. I'll invite y'all out. I really will. A friend of ours owns it, Pete, and it's funny because Pete's great, and he actually has Parkinson's, but he still plays guitar.
Oh, hell
it's
yeah.
not severe, but it's like his hand shakes, but he still gets out, and it's a dock, it's a whole dock, it's a lot of land, and you go out to the dock, and there's don't walk on the dock drunk because there are gators in that water.
I can imagine,
very
yeah.
close proximity. And then there's an RV, and like we light the fire. Been out there several times, and it's not mine, it's friends of mine's, that have the property. And we go out there, we play, and then sometimes we go out there and we get pissed drunk, right? So we were going to a disclosed place to drink anyway, so it was like, but parties, like, yeah, we're going to pregame a party, what's pregaming? And so when I lived in Nashville, there were people like coming out, like, oh, let's pregame, and like, I don't know what that is, It's funny when you see people like, when you like had the freedom, and I guess like living in Florida is a different thing because like freedom comes pretty easy if you're just standing around. Like the adult shit comes if you just, there.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I noticed about living all around and moving all around was that, you know. And so you go to certain places like, yeah, I don't know what pre-gaming is, or I've never drank before. This is my first batch of freedom. And I'm like, oh man. You get to the point where when you get there and around the college kids, you're over it because it's like, did all this. Y'all are, you know.
I'm always gonna call drinking at home pre-gaming now. That's hilarious.
Drinking at home pre-gaming?
Yeah, just like, you know, it's like
I'm
8
pre-game.
o'clock at night. I'm not going anywhere. It's like, what are you doing drinking by yourself? It's like, no, I'm pre-gaming.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm pre-
Yeah.
No, I'm pre-gaming. You flip on the TV.
Yeah.
Family Feud.
Yeah.
Walking Dead.
Pre-game.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
Pre-gaming to Steve Harvey later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
Steve-O.
Oh my God.
I do want to ask you about your time in Nashville, actually, because you moved there
I was 18.
when you were 18, and you moved there for music specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it to go to college or just to kind of see what it was about?
I was there at school for a little bit. I was living there. Yeah, I was there for a little bit, but for school purposes, but mostly it was the music that sort of took that over, because very soon when I got there, it wasn't long before I was like playing with ensembles and touring with the jazz band for a couple of years and doing that. And so the school was, you know, fine. It was nice to get out and meet people and go there and integrate, but it was mostly, yeah, the music sort of took its deal over. And I was like, yeah, I'll go to Nashville. Like I was never that guy growing up in Jacksonville, like I need to get the fuck out of here. I was never that. I wholeheartedly love this city. I think it has a lot of potential. I think there's a lot of things that holds it back, but it's not the city itself. It could be the people. It could be the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love you guys.
But Jacksonville and the environment, like I'll always be proud of being from here. Never will. But I came up in school, in high school or anywhere, everybody's always shitting on Jacksonville. I was like, I'll never say that. I'll never, you know. And see, when I got to Nashville, it wasn't like, again, I wasn't like, I need to leave. I was like, the opportunity presented itself, and I'm like, all right, I'll go, you know.
Why'd you choose Nashville instead of like LA or New York or Atlanta even?
First of all, definitely not Atlanta.
I'm just saying.
Atlanta's cool, you know, but it's just like the scene in Atlanta isn't what it used to be. It's changed. So like around the time, let's say, I always use this guy as a reference, John Mayer, like when he was trying to cut his teeth in the
Never heard of him.
gig.
I love his new cover
This
band.
guy, you heard that? He's got this underground record. What is it? Sob Rock. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I hear it's doing all right. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was trying to cut his teeth in the music game in Atlanta, and it was accepting of a lot of those songwriter guys at the time. A lot of that environment moved up to Nashville, and now what is Atlanta? Atlanta's the trap scene, which is great, good for them. They have been in the industry for so long.
That's still going on, trap music?
Trap music, yeah.
It's
All right.
huge right now.
Yeah.
It's like all pop music.
That was like, I thought when it was coming out, it was like 10 years ago almost.
Trap,
Well,
trap
that's
music-
surprising.
Trap music's never going to get old. It's never going to go away.
It was also different when it was coming out originally because like T.I. fancies himself the originator of trap music.
He's not.
Which is like, and his first mainstream record came out in 2001. And
He's not, okay. It was a culmination of people with the whole trap thing, and a lot of it is guys you don't hear about or that have not been relevant, but it's farther back. Like T.I. can say that because T.I. is like kind of the face of Atlanta, but not at the same time because he gets clowned in his own city about shit.
there were so many guys at that time coming out of Atlanta though that achieved the same amount of fame, like Young Jeezy and
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, it's the thing that even before that, what'd you have?
Outkast
You had the
and-
Dungeon Family,
yeah,
right?
Dungeon Family, yep.
Outkast, Goody Mob. You had all that going on, and that was what it is. That's why, okay, perfect example, like Future. Future's never going to get old because he's second generation Dungeon Family.
Right.
Okay, and if you know about the Dungeon Family, they call it that because that was the studio they recorded in.
Right, yep.
And anyway, you have guys in the trap scene that are pulling from guys that were doing it way before. Like, okay, perfect example, Migos. They got that flow, right? You know, you know, same thing with and Gunna too. They got that, and I knew it, but I didn't know it. But my dad broke the ice for me one time because I was showing him. I did a beat or a few beats and samples we were going over in the car or something like that, and I was talking about, I'm just gonna go for that Gunna type beat on this type of song I was trying to do, or that Gunna type flow. And he was like, you mean like the Lord Infamous flow? And I was like, and I said, wait a minute. And it's like Lord Infamous, like Lord, he's like the Migos, Gunna, that's Lord Infamous.
Yeah,
that's where they
100%.
got it from.
Yep.
And you obviously
3-6 Mafia and all that
right.
stuff. Yeah.
And I was like, Lord, I was like,
They were doing the triplet thing.
Oh yeah.
yeah. And I had to go back.
They started it.
I mean, they were. I don't know if
3-6 Mafia?
I don't know if they started it, but they were definitely like doing it. Yeah, it was like a big
that
thing.
flow is, and I was like, wait
Project
a
Pat, like.
minute. Yeah.
What was their big song? 3-6 Mafia. I always get them mixed up with the Yin Yang Twins.
Oh boy.
3-6 Mafia had a lot.
They had a lot of hits. I mean, yeah, a lot of their stuff. They were
The one that was on the radio when we were in high school.
It was
we're old as fuck.
It was the Hustle and Flow soundtrack stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
hard out here
Yeah.
for them. We're trying to get this money. Yeah.
But they had some like U.S. Soldier and like all this shit that was like more underground, like Chicken Head Hose or like Late Night Tip or like
What was the
Two-Way
big
Switch,
one? I can't remember
Two-Way
now.
Freak, Slob My Knob. That was a big one. Yeah.
Everyone loves that.
It was they were huge.
Deep cut 3-6 Mafia.
Yeah.
Lord, he played a song for me. I was like, I don't know. Are you sure? That's the biggest mistake you do with my dad. My dad knows everything,
Yeah.
right? So he's like, you sure? It plays a song, and I'm like, not so much Gunna. Okay, a little. You can feel like little bits of what Gunna does, but Migos,
Yeah.
direct rip. But see, that's okay. Because it's still part of that lineage of years where trap music was happening, and trap music is taking a shift because you knew, okay, everybody knew what was going to happen with trap music. That's why Atlanta, that's the hub of it. But everybody knew what was going to happen. It was going to integrate into everywhere. Hip hop has technically always been the pop music. For a while, it was the forbidden pop music. Now it's accepted.
Yeah, I don't know if it's always been because it didn't come around until later on. But
But it didn't come around. Well,
once
pop,
it became
pop just stands for popular, right?
Right.
But
What's trap? Technical rap?
technical.
What is it?
Yeah.
trap music is like, literally.
Doesn't stand for anything.
Well, trap music, trap house.
Like trapping.
Used to be, trap.
Oh, a trap house.
Yeah.
I lived in one of them.
Not
100%.
Not really. It was
Okay.
Yeah.
So it used to be
Different.
the material was revolved around that thing. But see, my dad almost said something deep one time. It's like trap music, some trap music, a lot of trap music about getting out of the trap, right?
Right.
But the trap don't always mean the trap house.
Yeah.
Trap means getting out of the trap,
Right.
period, right?
Right.
Things
It's the whole
about life.
philosophy,
And
yeah.
I was like, knock it off, man.
Yeah.
But
So this isn't a style of music that you wanted to pursue, but you were involved in like production stuff with it.
my dad owned a studio early on. I think we might have talked about this. My dad owned a studio when I was very little here. He did mixing and mastering. He did his own stuff. And then his mother was she was a very gifted pianist. She graduated school at like 16 years old. She was going to go to Juilliard, but her father didn't let her because back then a lot of jazz musicians became crack addicts and he didn't like that. So she didn't let her go. But so the lineage is there's a little bit of lineage there. And he had the studio and he actually had me in there when I was a baby doing all this work, and he's a studio whiz. So there were things I understood and were a natural inkling before I even knew it. I was definitely on the instrument side of it and learning the practicality of like hands-on things with instruments, but the knack for producing, and then it eventually became a necessity because no one was going to do my production for me, and then it became cheaper to do the production and to figure out what I wanted instead of telling people what I wanted, and then them not knowing because I had ideas that were a little bit different as far as
Right.
what I wanted to mix up and do. So he was really into that, and I sort of absorbed that without knowing it, and it's like something you save until you're ready to use it. And then I took recording classes in high school, so I knew the basics about certain things. And then, I was into musicians that were also studio whizzes, like Alicia Keys is a huge inspiration of mine. And my father was always like, her trick isn't the singing and the instrumentation or the piano playing. Her trick is that she's a studio whiz and she knows how she wants to sound. That was hers. That was a lot of people who were actually ahead of the curve with going up and being able to, you put them in the studio and they could do it.
They also come from artistic families, right? So like they kind of had an idea of like what being an artist was already, and then you come out of like she went to like a pretty, like a pretty established like art school, right?
Well, yeah.
And you come out knowing what an artist is like supposed to be.
The thing
you
about
know?
it is, man, I went to an art school myself, and I don't even know how much. I think that was just something, I wholly believe it was something raw that was in her, because I went to an art school and a few of these things were unlocked in me, but it was like still not, it wasn't because of the environment I was in. It was encouraged because of the environment I was in a little bit, but at the same time, there was a lot of things that I was just pulling out
Right.
of me. And I feel like that's the thing with her.
Right.
And so, yeah, as far as the production side, I've always liked everything, and I've always seen production as an art form. So it's like those guys that can put together those crazy just compositions of music. They call them beats. They're actually compositions.
Yeah, compositions. Yeah.
And it's like crazy. Living in Nashville, who was the guy? Who was the big producer then at that time? Tay Keith, right? You know.
I don't know.
Well, Tay Keith is the guy. You
Okay.
know? And so Tay Keith and no, he was the main guy. He was the guy doing all the stuff. And at the time, he was finishing up his degree at MTSU, right? I think I ran into him at a party. We didn't run into him like we were there and he was there. So I don't make it seem like, oh hey, Tay Keith. No, that's not like no, he was like in the VIP section, and then we were like, you know, just there, right?
Right.
And so he was on everything at the time. And see, there was a thing he used to do. He's from Memphis, right? Memphis was the three guys, the main hubs that were in Nashville when I was in Nashville was Memphis, Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, a little bit of Kentucky, right?
Really?
And some guys from Louisville and Lexington. I knew a couple of guys from Louisville, like 3 guys and 1 chick from Lexington. No, a total of 5 people from
That's
Kentucky.
the entire population.
That's the entire population, right?
They all have red hair.
No.
No?
None of them had red. No, none of them
Interesting.
had red hair,
All right.
actually. And so,
Probably not from there then.
so
I'm kidding.
they were more, you know. And so, yeah. And so, yeah, those were the hubs there, right? So Memphis, obviously, they're right next door. Memphis and Knoxville, but we always had a joke, like especially in jazz band, you want to be like Nashville, you want to be like, you know, corny ass Knoxville.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, no knock to Knoxville. Knoxville's cool, but like, anyway, so yeah, Memphis is right next door. Memphis is what? Home of the blues, all that stuff. They got a lot of culture there. Really great. And those guys, I mean, some of not the smartest guys I knew, but like, man, they could create a vibe. Like they could dance. You know, we went to club parties. You never was bored. You know, you got in. They. It's so funny seeing like a whole room dance in unison. Their specific like sort of way of, you know, vibing and dancing, like, 'cause they have their own dances, really.
Right.
And so Tay Keith was from Memphis. A lot of guys from the industry are from Memphis. Yo Gotti, Block Boy, Kevo Money, all these guys, and the list goes on, right? I'm probably missing a few. He was only doing Memphis rappers at the beginning. And then he started doing, you know, he only took guys that had lineage to Memphis almost still, because Drake's dad is from Memphis.
Oh, really?
That's why he did a lot of the songs on Scorpion. And then Drake was on Sicko Mode with Travis Scott. That's why he did Sicko Mode.
Oh, wow. That's
which
wild.
is still like, that's a tight, you know, whole composition. That's a song I'm gonna show my grandkids, and I know it's gonna blow their mind because the beat switches up 3 times. You can't beat that. That's like, I can't wait to like see their faces like, oh, is that the end of the, nope, it's not. Because that song switches 3 times. And he was the it guy, right? So production was still around, and that's an art form. That was his thing, and he was a genius at it. And there's guys before him, even before that, you know, Young Metro, all those guys, you know, the young guys still. They were all great. It was fantastic, and it was something I knew I wasn't always going to be the king of in that whole. But it's like I got it, and I would always have respect for it in that regard. And then when it was time for me to do it, it was like, okay, you kind of have this power because you got to understand what you're doing to know, but you already know what you want, but you got to understand how to get it there. And then I'm already doing stuff where producers are like, I don't think that's going to work. And I got to be like, you know, trust me. And they're still like, I don't know. And it's like, we spend an hour arguing. And it's like, all right, whatever. So we have to, you know, then it came time around the pandemic where I was basically producing all the records I was putting out, and limited by the technology I had, limited by the stuff I had, but still was like, getting it to at least where it was close to what I was envisioning, you know. So yeah, the production side when it was time to make music, because studio recording's always been tedious to me because I came up playing as a live musician. So when it came time to, do that, it was like a little bit of an adjustment, but then it was like, okay, I kind of like creating these things and sort of, saying what I want to say just through, off the rip with the music starting from, the beginning of the song and how I'm putting it together.
Yeah, it's a whole different creative
Because I've always
process,
enjoyed composing and arranging, and it's kind of like that, just in a different, light.
Right.
He likes it more than performing, actually.
Yeah, big
Really?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just there's just more, you can be more creative with it. Like performing is so fleeing. Every moment is like passing.
That's what's so great about it.
I guess.
So
I mean,
it's so subjective as hell.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to say, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I like performing too. It's like I do enjoy performing, but for me, like the studio is like where you can really allow like all of your creativity to figure it out.
I'm a little different because I love like working things out live. Like I love the
Yeah.
I like it too. Yeah, for sure.
What do you think's harder, though?
I think they're two completely different things.
I think to me, studio recording it's just a lot more tedious. Like you go in there, and it's just the fact that me, like most of the stuff I put out has been like at my leisure, and I've done it in my own thing. But it's like going in the studio. It's just always been like a tedious thing. You got to sit there. You got to figure this out. You want to do this. You want to do that. Now, if I had my own studio giant where I was able to like, all right, everybody get out. I'm gonna do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Then it's like that's a different thing. I can create and get projects done, but I think it's only because I want to see a finished product.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me is the thing, and then like the end result to me is infinitely more satisfying than like playing a good gig, because like a good gig or even a great gig is like, okay, that was amazing, but it's just like taking a hit or something where you need to do that again to get that feeling. Whereas when you create something in the studio, it's there forever, so you can go back and listen to it and then remember what that process was and be like, holy shit, that's how this came to be.
They really are two different animals.
Yeah.
You can't compare
They
it.
definitely are. I think like, but the high, because it started with me live, so the high for me is just being in front of people, or just being able to play these things live. I like the spontaneity. I like the space. I like how anything can change at any moment. I like hearing these things where I interpret what was on the record live. I even listen to live performances. It's pretty much the majority of what I listen to a lot of the time in my, like, if I'm not in the car, like putting something on shuffle. And even then I try to find live performances of certain things, because I always wanted to see how artists could cut it.
Big jam band guy?
Totally.
I do like a lot of
That's
that
the
stuff.
best live
I love
music.
jam band stuff. But even
100%.
like, I love jam band stuff. I love just everything live, hearing like even rappers perform. Like Jay-Z and his live stuff was always like, I remember watching live when he did that whole
The orchestra thing?
No, the Madison Square Garden, the 9/11 tribute thing years ago he did.
No, I don't think
He
it's
invited like all those artists out. It was on Fuse, and we watched it. I watched it like at my grandma's house. I'm like yay high, and I was like, that's wow.
The problem with a lot of rappers live, and it's probably changed as the art has progressed, but when they record, it's usually like their voice is operating in a certain kind of, way. But then when they're it doesn't always translate to performing live. So they have to shout, or they have to like do it entirely differently than how they do it on the record. And for me, listening to hip hop, like it hits me a certain way when I'm listening to the record. Then when you hear them do it live and they have like people ad-libbing stuff like randomly, and then you have like people like, even when like Jay-Z is having to shout a part because the way he was speaking it on the record is not translating live, like that to me like kills the whole thing for me.
I don't know. I think it's the intensity of live. Like you got to accept that it's supposed to be different.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
I think that's what it is. Like Jay-Z, with any guys, seeing, it's just the vibe. Like seeing Lil Uzi Vert just perform by himself, and like it's like, no, that shit is wild. Sometimes it can be a little like when Travis Scott puts on these spectacles, or Young Thug gets out here and does something, or even like it's just like, they're a little bit different. They got to approach it differently, because sometimes there's no instrumentation. It's not how we approach certain things, right? But it's like, even with Jay-Z, where there's a hype guy and he's shouting, it's nice to hear it in a different light. And it's almost like, the energy hits you. That's what it is. And it's supposed to, you're supposed to like, it's supposed to hit that way.
That's the thing, right? Like the whole idea is like they're emceeing. So it's like you got to bring that kind of energy to the live performance.
And it's that, because it's like if you grew up around, like, I guess like one of the starting out, one of the things that formed me was the hip hop and the rap and the R&B and, well, a lot of things really starting out. But that was one of the things where it was like, imagine, you know, you almost miss it too, where you had a rapper in these underground ciphers or rappers, and then you had the DJ doing his thing on the turntables.
Totally.
And then that's crazy. Imagine being in there for that, you know, and like you almost want that back a little bit. You still got great DJs. Don't get me wrong. You still got that thing going.
This is just
different art
it's
form
just
now.
a theory, but do you
Because
think?
DJing's an art form.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But do you think that it's the rappers? They didn't grow up performing because they're like in the studio doing everything the whole time, so they don't like most of us as musicians or whatever. Not that rappers aren't musicians, but instrumentalists. We grew up performing and then went to the studio. So like,
It's definitely performing. It's a different kind of.
that's what I'm
like,
trying to
it's
say. Maybe that's all it is. It's
You
just-
got to
they're just-
think. You got to think about it this way: the way rappers had gigs, we got gigs. Like there were people that were performing their mixtapes and going in underground clubs and doing that kind of thing. So it's like just the way they do it is the same way some of us. Yeah, we started playing live before we conceptualized our own like style of music. But then there's other artists that they started in the studio.
Yeah, like I started in the studio.
Yeah,
I
and
was
then
doing
you
that
go out
first.
and you got to perform. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck, you know. You see those guys. You know, there's guys I know. It's like I've never performed, never done it live. Fucking nervous, da da da. And
Yeah.
you see them go out because it's like you see a lot of the industry push people like that. People who have never performed and they pick some person up. That was how a lot of R&B artists started back in the day, where it was like they were singing on the corner. And
Right.
then they got picked up and then they got to perform.
That's what I'm saying. Like hip hop, I feel like worked in the same way. Very
Yeah, so
much.
it's kind of the same. Like it just we didn't come up that well. You said you started in the studio. I didn't come up that
Me
way, and
neither.
maybe you didn't come up.
I was
that
always on stage. Yeah.
way. Right. You was always on stage, so that's a different thing. But when it's like all you doing is conceptualizing your music, you get in the studio, you do it, and then they be all right. There's a spot down the street, or you know, we're gonna. You know, they got this cipher, they got this open mic. You're gonna get up there, play your track. People still do it, and you see like performing is a learning is a thing with a huge learning curve, right? Or a thing that has a learning curve. Like you got to adapt to it, and when you still see people that are going from record to performing, you see them either they get it quick or they get it slow, or they sort of in the middle. It sort of comes up, but then there's rappers who they've been sitting in the mirror getting their lines down
Yeah.
before they could, you know.
or they're performing on like corners. You know what I mean? Like they have like there's like a scenario. Like, it's still performance. That
It's
they're
not a stage though. You know what I mean? In front of a lot of people.
But the thing about it is like that's almost braver than being on stage because you get a set audience on the stage, right? These people are expecting something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then but you go on a corner and somebody, you know, you start spitting what you spitting, you know, you start putting something out, and it's like people either come or they don't, or it's like you're getting a rejection or acceptance, or
Dude,
all in the same swoop.
we
you know.
had like for instance, and Chelsea can speak to this too because she grew up in South Florida where hip hop was like just permeated the culture. It didn't matter if you were in the suburbs or in the city. Like hip hop was a part of the whole thing.
Right.
And you'd be at lunch and all of a sudden like people would just start like rapping, like battle rapping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like circles
That
are
was high
forming.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
And you've got like all of a sudden, you know, 50 people around you and you're
dope.
doing the thing.
So that's
the kind of performing that I think more that stemmed from. So there is still a performance angle
Yeah.
happening first in a lot of ways. So it's just in every genre, people have like different, you know, starting points. But I think that live performance as a starting point in hip hop is still a very you know, normal thing to see.
Yeah, because some of these people, they didn't have recordings. They didn't have, just like we didn't. Like me, there are songs, like I threw myself into playing live. So I had to memorize these songs. Sometimes it went well, sometimes it didn't. I don't know how many people work at 1904 that did when I was in high school doing the first few iterations of my songs, you know. And when they had to put X's on my hands because I couldn't drink, and and we were opening up for certain bands and doing all that. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but yeah, it went well a little bit, and it might not, but like that was what I was throwing myself into because studio recording was still a foreign thing to me.
Right.
So it was like that's where I come from. Some of the songs that haven't been released in years and are years old is because of from that we're rehearsing. Okay, memorize these lines, songs I know by heart that have never touched a record before.
Right.
It's because of from doing that. And rappers approach it the same sort of way, and almost
Look at
like
Biggie, he didn't write one lyric down ever. It was
Nope.
just him performing.
But he was
in
a
the corner,
natural. What he was doing. It was Biggie is like. It was a natural thing for him too, and it's funny because he wasn't all that interested in rapping in the beginning.
Right.
He was like drug dealing was like my wife. Rapping was just some chick on the side.
Right.
So
That's
yeah.
how it is for a lot of those guys, man. I mean, T.I. says the same thing. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
It's a lot early on, I would say. Anyways, nowadays
Now
it's
it's
a
the thing.
different thing. But
Yeah.
but like at that time, you know, especially growing up in those areas where like there's not a lot of opportunity to like get out of there other than just this one way. Either you become a sports star or like you're selling drugs. And then it was like rapping was this thing that you could kind of do. And you know, you had to be motivated and still pursue it for sure. That's why I don't fully buy the whole thing about like, well, I was just selling drugs and rapping just happened. It's like, no, it didn't. You had to pursue it on some level.
Well, it was like rapping for some people it did. Like for Biggie, it was like people are like, man, this is good. And
Yeah.
they were doing it for him, pushing it to people. And he ended up meeting Puffy, getting in with that and doing that.
he still showed up though. He still went to the places
Well,
he had to go to. You know what I mean?
He went to check certain. It was like people sat down with him and had talks. Like, bro, you can really do this.
Yeah.
It took persuading for him because
Yeah.
he really was like, it's like this, man, and it's not just drug dealing. Like, you making money, good money someplace, right? It's your thing. You ain't mad about it. Like you cool with it. Like it's not breaking at all.
Right.
And it's like you're comfortable, but it's not like you're comfortable like you're hindering yourself. You're comfortable and you're getting through life just fine.
Yeah. There's no reason to
No
disturb
reason to
that.
complicate things,
yeah, totally,
right?
Totally.
And so that was his and a lot of other people's mindset to where he was getting it how he was getting it for so long, and then he liked it, you know. So then you turn around like, hey, try out some of this rap shit. Should I be doing on the corner? Yeah. Nah, you know, initially, you
Yeah.
know, somebody had to talk him into it.
Yeah.
And then he became who he was. But it's like a lot of people are like that to where you get some spot, you get some place where it's like comfortable, and nothing good ever does come from comfort. But these guys was making stacks. They're like, I'm gonna go rap.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that was beyond comfort. Like that was like those guys were like they didn't have to like worry about other than just like, you know.
Right. So and then
Yeah.
they go like, I'm gonna go rap.
Yeah, totally.
Nah, you know.
Totally.
And T.I., I don't know how much I buy T.I.'s story, but I do buy Biggie's story because that was his thing.
I think I buy T.I.'s story because I'm also like a huge T.I. fan.
Oh yeah, me too.
So like I've like gone down the rabbit hole and like looked into his because there was a time like when I was in high school where I was like obsessed with
T.I.
Not just T.I., like him and Lil Flip had a beef for a while. So
yeah.
I went like down the rabbit hole on that, and then I just got into like, you know, it was a lifestyle that I found fascinating. And I was like, who's really doing the thing and who's just talking about it? And T.I., by all accounts, from what I've been able to find out, the dude was like legit. You know, he may have like, you know, found fame and made money doing like rapping early on, but I mean, as far as like the things that he experienced, it's kind of wild. You know?
Yeah, it was wild, but I guess because it's his. And again, I don't think this is gonna get back to T.I., but like I don't think it was
T.I., if you're out there, you let us.
T.I.'s out there.
I'm not talking
He's
shit.
out there.
I ain't
Yeah.
I ain't talking shit. But I mean we are,
Sounds
but
like
not like talking
Sounds
shit.
like you're talking shit, dude.
But like it wasn't like the craziest thing. I like that was what he went through and things like that. Like,
What did he go through?
you know,
That's an outside perspective for the rest of the people.
Just
'Cause
about,
I know the whole
just,
story.
Yeah, you know the whole story.
100%.
Yeah, just about his life selling drugs just early on, like
He sold drugs.
and just the thing like
T.I..
if okay.
What do you know about that?
If you listen to his first, that's good. If you listen to his first record,
Come on, we're just kids having fun. you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? A couple guys.
his first record, trap music that came out like in 2001, and then he has a song on there. What's it called? It's basically like, and it's a take on what Biggie did with like the 10 Crack Commandments, but he basically breaks down like how you take you know,
How you cook it,
weight,
how you put it
break
together,
it down,
right? Yeah,
do the
yeah.
whole thing. And he's
Well, see, the thing about it
Like
is,
an
and
instructional
I guess because again, I
Instructions.
guess because I was so immersed. It's like that one Boondocks episode when Doug Nificent got broke and he started listening to songs about how to cook crack, and he burned like the crack and tried to sell it. Anyway, so I guess because I was so exposed, and not to say you weren't exposed to that, but I was so like into hearing about a lot of this stuff. Like I said, his story wasn't the craziest, and like just like it's like things like that almost not to knock people's experience where Diamond doesn't.
Yeah.
There were like tens of thousands of rappers.
Every
talking about
rapper's
how
got
to
it.
do
Yeah,
this,
every rapper's
how
got a
to
story.
run the
Pitbull's
holes
got
through
a-
here,
Pitbull's
how to
got
keep
one,
this
yeah.
out the trap, how to do it. Like it was so like
it's not it's just there's just a perspective that he has that I think was. He's also a really good actor, so he could just be very convincing. You know what I mean?
he's just. He gets it where he can, and that's what you got to respect about him. He is a hustler, like he is that. That's the thing.
And he knows like hip hop too, which is what I respect, because like, a lot of guys coming up now, like kind of pride themselves on being such a departure from what hip hop was, and creating like a new vein of like this kind of, you know, the demeaning term mumble rap or whatever. But a lot of these guys kind of pride themselves on being so removed from the old school stuff, whereas
the purist mentality.
Yeah, and like T.I. was more of like, you know, I'm different than all this stuff, but he knows the history though too, you know what I mean, which is cool to me. Somebody that was, you know, at that time different than what more traditional hip hop was, but to have a respect and understanding for where it all came from, you know.
Yeah, I think, but here's the thing. the whole like you said, the meaning term of mumble rap is like, man, the purist mentality is such a bitch, man.
Yeah.
Because it's like, my dad has this joke. No, it's not his joke. It's actually a comedian we like. I can't even think of his name right now. But it's like, y'all talking shit about mumble rap. If you say you know every word to a Michael McDonald song, you're a motherfucking liar.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, no, I mean not knowing every word, just knowing one
if
word.
you know
would be nice,
if you
though.
say you know the words to a Michael McDonald song, you are a motherfucking liar. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta swap my unpopular opinion now.
I think
That's what it was though. It was
I think the only coherent lyrics he had was when he was in the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah,
His own shit, nah, I can't decipher that.
that's
no.
a fair point to make.
mine was
So what the fuck is what's that mumble rap shit? Or tell me what the fuck Eddie Vedder is saying in like the second
That was
verse
my-
of
God damn it.
Yellow
Yellow
Ledbetter. Tell me
yeah.
what he's saying.
Yeah,
That's,
no,
what,
that's
that's what I was gonna say. Is that grunge is just mumble rap
Yeah.
from the '90s. So.
that is an interesting perspective. And
So you got to think about
that one.
People
and then
always
I'll
like,
come
I
back.
don't like that music. It's so unpure, and I don't know how y'all listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, nigga. Keep forgetting.
Yeah.
All right, that's all you know.
Bro,
That song.
that song slaps,
Stop playing games with me. You know.
we,
This is our clip,
we
boys.
sing that Thunder Track song that Thunder Track.
Thunder Track, yeah.
All I know,
Thunder Trap. Hell
what's
yeah,
that?
dude.
What's that? She had a place in his life. That's all I know from that
yeah.
Doobie Brothers spot.
Yeah.
But that was the most coherent lyrics that he had.
That's true.
The other one, like, yeah, you know, you don't know. Stop, come on, like, don't bullshit me. You know?
No, yeah, you're right. There's something to be said about that. Well, okay, so I want to talk about the stuff you got going on. First, we should do bottom of the billboard, though.
We should.
Yeah.
Don't explain it anymore.
Don't explain what anymore.
Yeah, if you don't get it, go watch another episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's on you at this point.
Anyways, what's the track for today?
Okay, so this is
Just alienate any new fan.
yeah.
Fuck
So
y'all, right?
yeah.
Should have been here the first goddamn time.
Yeah, where the hell are you? We're almost at 100.
Yeah,
if
for
you don't know
real,
it by
bro.
now. Yeah, that's right. Give me that look back there, dude.
Get y'all shit together, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this week I picked a cover of an old song. As we all know, I'm a big Beatles fan. My favorite band of all time.
So
I don't
crazy.
care.
You're like, I fucking love Pitbull and the Beatles.
Yeah, I do. I do love Pitbull.
Oh, really? That's those are your guys?
Well,
That's what we call it. We call him Tony 305, Mr.
Pitbull-
Worldwide over
yeah,
here.
but that's Pitbull. I liked Pitbull up until his third. Mariel Boatlift was okay. Miami is a major issue was good. Money is a major issue was good. Like the second one, but the first one, MIAMI, which money is a major issue, was a dope fucking record that he put out. That was his first one when I was in high school. Either way, that has zero to do with this song. This is a song by Scary Pockets that does a rendition of Rocky Raccoon, which is a great Beatles tune. But
That's off the White Album, right?
it was off the White Album.
They
Yeah,
were
it was-
just fitting whatever they had like in their back pocket.
Yeah,
They're just
it's-
like, all right, whatever on the White Album.
It's a great song.
Whatever you
Actually,
want.
kind of a hit melody too on the.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like this folky country thing that the Beatles were trying to do, and Scary Pockets does a cool like funky dancey version of it. And it's got like, the kind of Wolfpacky sounding drums, very light touch and a lot of compression and all that stuff. And then, but just I love what they kind of do. Like the original song kind of has this walk down where it's like,
Oh shit, dude. We're gonna get
fucking
fucking
pulling it out.
copyright infringed right here.
just like, and it just does a standard chord progression, like D, G, C, then the walk down back down. But like Scary Pockets, like
Oh shit, dude.
Swing it.
I didn't know
swing
you
it.
fucking jammed.
and it just kind of
Anton, you
does.
play guitar?
Yeah, right. I do my best, anyways. Sorry.
Tell me you play a guitar without telling me you play guitar.
Start playing guitar.
There you go.
Start playing guitar.
So I like how they just kind of pedaled.
That truss rod's a little crooked. You know?
It is actually. That's done on purpose, so we can get into that if you want.
Anyway, that's not John Mayer.
That's not John Mayer. So I just like how they kind of simplified the melody and just made it like funkier and just kind of pedaled, that groove, and then had the melody walk down on top. I thought it was dope. The way they sang it is cool, and then the breakdown, kind of like the 4 on the floor breakdown in the middle of the song, was really cool.
Let's talk about that snare hit. How do you get that snare hit sound?
I think it's just mostly really light touch on
Here's
the
how you do
drums,
it.
and then let the compressors.
Here's how you do
most
it.
of the
You just
work.
sample Wolfpack.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what this sound. I mean, that's what they're just ripping off Wolfpack and the
I don't know.
Beatles.
I don't know. I like
It's
the
a
song.
good track. It's a good track, but I'm just like, oh, this is Wolfpack.
It's the sound of the time. That's kind of like Wolfpack has influenced,
Well, Wolfpack. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, just their production style has influenced a lot of people in that scene.
Yeah.
So
the covering of R&B songs and flipping them or flipping certain songs type deal.
not just that, just even the production quality.
Sure,
itself,
no, that's
you know?
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I remember hearing Beastly for the first time, and
Yeah.
I still believe like Joe Dart is not a real person.
Yeah.
He's got to be a figment of our imagination, especially for bass players. There's no fucking way he exists. But the thing about it is like hearing a friend of mine, and we were listening to the song "Love and Happiness," Al Green, and we heard them like do little chord progression. It was like literally that same thing.
Yeah.
So like they're pulling from these other like
Oh yeah, for
places.
sure.
Oh, yeah,
they're
Wolf-
nothing new either.
Yeah,
really.
of course not.
But at the same time,
yeah.
they are.
It's like they're setting. It's like presentation almost with the precedent they're setting almost as far as
Yeah.
the production and the presentation, like how Scary Pockets does their stuff and how Wolfpack does their stuff. They were more like, we're gonna bring a little bit of personality to this, to our musicality, or have a lot of showmanship and then film it.
Yeah,
put it in
well,
the digital age.
What they did was just really, they kind of brought this DIY thing that most artists are restricted to,
Right.
to more of a mainstream audience. So like this idea of recording with cheap microphones or like direct in on guitars, and then using an iPhone to like film a video, and then making everything super broken down, but making the performances like top notch, right? Just like performances, and then also just with a bit of a different twist on it, because like you listen to a lot of the stuff that they're taking from, which is like earlier R&B and funk stuff, right? But listen to the guitar tones. Now they're beefy and compressed, whereas back in the day it was like very tinny and almost shrill on the guitar, right? Keeping some of the traditional bass stuff, kind of dirty, almost muffled sounding, but clean. And then very dirty like Rhodes stuff, and just
Michael Jackson 5 ABC 1 2 3. Just say that.
No, but-
I mean, like that's like every single one of their songs. It sounds
but
just
making
like that.
low production sound like highly produced.
Yeah, they just take a aluminum foil and just hit a styrofoam plate, and that's what a fucking snare hit is for Volpe, and this band too. Anyways, for this song though, I like it. It's good.
Yeah. Any deeper?
Not really. I mean, like it's like I said, it just sounds just like Wolfpack.
I always enjoy like what Scary Pockets does.
What else do they do?
What?
Like this is the first time I've really listened to them.
They do like a pretty dope version of.
Do they just do covers?
They did this song.
do.
David Ryan Harris has this song called Kerosene, and then they did a version of his song with him singing it. David Ryan Harris is such an underrated songwriter. Jeez. literally probably one of the best male songwriters of like the last 10 years, even though he's been around longer than that, 20 years. And like, he's just, and that song Kerosene is actually so great. And they did like a funk sort of version to it. It was cool.
They also do American Boy, the Katy Perry tune. They have a cool version of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do they have original stuff though?
yeah,
They
they
just
do. They,
covers,
they
though?
do, but I mean, most of their stuff.
It's the cover.
That's their
set.
thing almost, though.
That's fine. I was
that's
just
what
wondering.
Pulls people in.
I didn't know much
think.
about Scary Pockets.
I believe so.
They also have this cool. Was it them who did that funk version of the Dua Lipa tune? Yeah.
But levitating?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not Katy Perry. It's Estelle.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Get it right, dude.
Oh shit! On camera.
Just got
bro.
called out. We're gonna edit that part out.
I'll get right
Estelle,
on that.
sorry.
She was like,
Timestamp.
Yeah, timestamp. Yeah. Whoops. Anyways, so what do we say? It makes it on the playlist.
Of course. I mean, Rocky Raccoon always is gonna make the playlist. Like the only way that it wouldn't make the playlist is like I don't know. If it was the Beatles one, I think.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it makes the playlist 100%.
Word. Yeah. So for those who are interested, check out our playlist on Spotify. It's bottom of the Billboard, which is just all the songs we reviewed. If we like them, they make it on the playlist. And if you don't, if they didn't make it, you'll never know because it's not on there. So you have to go back and watch the other episodes to find out. And then we also have our own playlist called just Bottom of the Bill, where we have all the artists that have been on the show. We feature a playlist with all their music, or at least one of their songs. So
Yeah, I want to see that. I haven't seen the playlist Bottom of the Billboard in a long time, so this got to be pretty long at this point.
solid playlist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or those
All over the place though, probably.
playing along at home. Is that the first cover we've had on Bottom of the Billboard?
Playing along at home.
I think it is the first cover we've had on Bottom of the Billboard.
Rocky Raccoon.
Yeah.
There you go.
What that
for-
Tool song was a cover, right?
Right into?
Yeah.
No.
Are you sure?
Tool definitely wrote that song.
That's not Out
Yeah.
Green.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Anyways, so that wraps up that section. Unless
Neat.
you got anything else you want to say about that?
No, it's Scary Pockets are great. You know, it's always like a boost of serotonin when you scroll past the videos on Instagram.
For sure. And now TikTok too, because they're crushing it on TikTok.
Good for them.
Okay, so let's talk about what you got going on now. So you've been back in Jacksonville now for how long?
Maybe a couple years now, or yeah, since the pandemic, I was back here permanently.
And you've since put together your own band, or you like kind of have circulating members? What's the deal?
Well, it was never like a, and you want to call it a band, but you don't. But it's not really like a band because it's like for a while it was circulating members, and we were all just playing my music, and now it's like, you know, consistent guys and core members. But we're really all just playing the music. It's just like when you got a band behind an artist. But not to discount them because they're phenomenal, intuitive musicians, and honestly, I don't feel right playing without them anymore. You know.
Who's playing with you now?
Caleb Stovall, Eugene Wilson, George McCall. George McCall's on bass. Caleb Stovall's the drummer, and Eugene Wilson is the percussionist. Eugene Wilson is, I'm always baffled why he even plays with us or with me, because he's 65 years old, right? Or, yeah, should be 65 now. And I met him, we were playing a gig. It was me and George. We were playing a gig for Dominican Independence Day. And we had to do like, we had to reel out, you know, we had the Dominicano, so, you know, we had to do all that stuff. And all that shit. And then did some of the originals I had, you know, but I was looking for a percussion player. And then I ran into, I was put into this guy actually by my capoeira instructor. I was like, do you know any percussion players? Because again, it's music based. We had percussionists during the sparring sessions. Very
Right.
strange when you like beating the shit out of somebody, but there is a soundtrack to that. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
happening.
based off of a
the
dance,
The
yeah.
bed and bow is playing the Brazilian instrument, and then
Eye of the
maybe
Tiger,
percussionist.
maybe.
Yeah,
something.
then a percussionist while we're kicking and punching each other and sparring.
Right.
You know?
Weird.
And so I said, do you know anybody? He's like, this is guy. And I call, and I meet a guy named Ryan Sinclair, who's also a phenomenal percussionist. Meet him, and just a drummer. He's a good drummer too, good set drummer, church guy. And meet him. He's like, I can't do the gig, but I know a guy. I was like, all right. Eugene calls me, and I never met him before. He showed up to the gig. Dude is sharp. Like, he comes in, I'm like, I wasn't dressing that well back then. I'm still trying to, you know, but he came in, I was like, you know, so outdressed us at the gig, met us, played with us. You know, we were doing like Palo style stuff. It was cool. And then I paid him, and then he told me to give him half of what I was going to pay him. And he was like, just give me half, you know. And then he invited me out to Island Girl cigar bar to play downtown. He's like, hey, you should come out, you know, and want to hear you play more. Played with some cats down there. He never heard me play electric before because that was an acoustic gig, and he was like blown away. I guess he was. That's what he said. And then I called him for another gig this was when the pandemic was running up, and that gig eventually got canceled. And then he would just call me and be like, what we got next? And I'd be like, you rolling with us now? So, you know, because it used to be just me, George, and Caleb, and it was a trio thing. And then we was talking on the phone, me and Eugene, because we talk on the phone, and me and him, like, you get us started, we can't stop, you know. So we're talking, and he's like, you know, so, and we're talking and talking about the group. He's like, well, I'm a core member of your group anyway. And I'm like, yeah, I guess, yeah, okay, yeah, because he said it. So, I mean, he invited him, and he's more than welcome. But his cousins are actually the percussionists in Mandrill, if you're familiar with that group. The Three Wilsons, those are his cousins, right?
Wow.
So he's got lineage, right? And the dude is just a master,
great,
right?
yeah.
Told me a story about how, and if you boxed, you know this. It's like percussion and boxing is the same movement. So he said, my dad bought me a pair of skins when I was a kid and a pair of boxing gloves. And I was like,
I love that.
You know, so yeah, he's fantastic. Caleb, they're all intuitive musicians. George has perfect pitch. I went to school with him. I graduated a year after him. Oh no, a year before him. Sorry. And so he could always pick up things. He was always just hilarious. You know, he was always funny. And like literally, he was that guy with perfect pitch. You like drop a pen, he's like C sharp.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
He doesn't do that anymore now. But like he used to always do it, and he still has it. He still remember. I mean, one time we were gonna do an Al Di Meola tune, segueing into a song of mine, and I was like, "Yeah, transpose it to A flat," and he's like, "Oh, I thought it was already in A flat," and I listened back to the song, I'm like, "Oops, such a fucking idiot." Yeah, I'm sorry, George. He's like, "That's okay, that's cool, man." I'm like, "Oh, God damn."
So those guys, you like drop keys, they can tell you the intervals.
So he's like, "Oh my God, dude, literally knows," and I was like, and back when I knew nothing about theory, because I grew as a musician with these guys, I was ranting about some shit where some horn player was telling me, yeah, let's do my song, and it goes from G flat to the relative minor. And I said, so E flat minor. He's like, yeah, and I'm like, then I'm talking. Wait a minute, G flat don't make any fucking sense. It's F sharp. And then I'm like, I'm with again some of the pedal guys I know were like deep theory guys too. So like, why did you even agree to that? That's F sharp. I was like, yeah, I know, but like, you know, and then I was talking to George, ranting about the same thing because this dude was pissing me off. I was like, so what makes more sense? You know, 6 flats or 2 sharps? Like 2 sharps. I was like, yeah, I know, but I'm talking to him like you don't fucking know that before I did. You know,
Yeah.
So it's like he's like again, very intuitive. All these musicians are intuitive. I like intuitive musicians better than anything.
I have a question about this because I'm somebody that didn't learn theory till later on.
Sure.
And I don't get like why there has to be like a debate about the flat versus sharp thing. If I'm
Say it. Go ahead and say it. Say G sharp major.
Oh God, please don't.
Doesn't that hurt your brain?
No.
Yeah.
Don't do, I need to pour a shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
I need to pour one.
I mean, I wouldn't. I would always
You have.
G sharp major.
You have said it before.
Don't do it.
And it's okay.
I usually like my
'Cause I'm a cool guy.
well, my instinct is to use flats predominantly, but like I know that it doesn't always translate. But just like, what's the difference? If you know what somebody's talking about, why does there have to be like a huge discussion about the thing in the moment? You know.
So back me up on this, please.
Yeah,
I
100%.
definitely will. Yeah.
Bill's your guy.
Yeah.
He's got you.
So there are things that exist as certain flats that you're thinking of that exist in certain. It's all about the context, right?
Yeah, of course, I know that. Yeah.
So in a regular context, it goes F sharp, G, A flat to A, you know, and so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you were gonna say B sharp, or no, not B sharp, but B.
Think about how are you gonna say you're starting at G sharp, right? Mm-hmm. Then the next one it's gonna have to be A sharp.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What's C gonna be?
Right.
C.
C is C, right? It's not B sharp.
Where's
No,
B?
it
you
would
can't
be
in a
B sharp.
scale.
Oh, sorry, B sharp. I'm sorry.
And
On the
it's-
key of G sharp. It's stupid, but that's the
Well,
context.
you got double sharps, you got all this stuff.
Yeah.
It depends
Hold
on the
boys.
context, like we're trying to say.
It's way simpler than you guys are. Like, you can't skip a letter. Just always think about that.
Exactly. It's like
I
it's
know
like,
that.
Think about exactly, and it's that.
So, like I said, so what would you would say C, or would you say B sharp?
You just say C.
No, and you would have to say B sharp.
Right. It
which is-
depends. Again, the context.
I understand the context of it, and I get that, but I'm not going to say B sharp. Of
course
I'm going
not.
to say C.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like,
Well-
or if we're like in C sharp,
And that's what it is.
And
But
I
just
say
like he-
A flat, right? If we say go to the 5 chord, we're talking about going to, and I say for some reason just A flat off the top of my head. Like, what difference does it make?
If
Just
somebody's
go
like trying to
A.
like drag out time and be an asshole, okay, yeah, that's a little much.
Yeah,
But
but,
like
yeah.
what he's saying is like when we're talking about certain key signatures and things like that, you do have to list the right things because some people's brains are wired that way.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
people whose brains are not wired, and it's like, all right, what you said is fine. I'm not gonna fixate over it, or the other person doesn't know the difference anyway.
Right.
And again, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
some people, it's the way their brains are wired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the way that you were
The
taught.
way you think, right?
It's like, it would be the same thing if you like just pronounced like Parmesan Parmesan. I'd be like,
What the fuck are you
bro,
saying?
no.
Or
It's
tomato,
not,
like
yeah,
or-
exactly.
or
well,
like-
that's how the Brits say it, but no one says Parmesan.
or white instead of white.
White.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's
Right.
it's just like
It's a context thing.
Yeah.
and then be adamant about it. Then it's like it's the same thing. And I'd be like, you're just wrong. It's not. You
No,
can't,
right,
you can't
right.
do that. And then you have to go into the like why you don't say it that way. And then it's just like we're all wasting time here.
yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
totally.
you
Just
got-
say A
you
flat.
got- like right, you got to think
Yeah,
again.
totally. That's what I'm saying, though.
Right.
And I feel like as the musician, they might be more like properly educated. Like the burden is on you just to grant that, like the person who's less educated, the moment, right? You know what I mean?
Not even that. It's like this. It's again, if you're gonna choose to drag it out and be a dick about it, that's sort of your prerogative.
Yeah.
But it's just like sometimes, man, people are easygoing, and then there's people that are not, and then you have people who sometimes the most pretentious people are people that are pursuing music degrees, especially classical degrees. classical
Yeah,
music degrees.
totally. Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole reason why you've seen
What up?
There's people like you've seen like those symphonies, those orchestras, those all that is such a cutthroat. You think jazz is like I'm talking shit about you, I'm gonna shit on you till you cry? No, it ain't that. Like the whole orchestral part of that, the classical part of that, is way worse. And it's almost like they'll tell you your mother never loved you in the most sophisticated way, or the
Yeah.
best thing that ever happened to you was the shit that ran down your mother's leg when she was giving birth to you.
Yeah.
And it's like so it's like that. And you've actually seen that. We've actually seen that in a rock and roll context where beef was started because of that particular thing. Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen.
They didn't like each other. I didn't know that.
Hell no. Okay.
There's also a big debate over who
was better.
who popularized
Who popularized.
the finger style
Right.
first. Was it him or Randy Rhoads? Van
Right.
Halen or Randy Rhoads?
Eddie-
Randy Rhoads was first, though, right?
No.
Not necessarily. I mean, Randy Rhoads, I think, was probably had more awareness, but they were coming up in the same scene at the same time.
I thought,
Here-
I
here
thought
was-
Black
here-
Sabbath
here
was
was-
like way back in the
Late
Here was-
60s.
Here was the thing.
Yeah,
Here-
the Eddie Van Halen was in the like late 70s.
No, I'm
early,
saying-
yeah, late 70s, yeah.
yeah.
Here's the thing with that. It doesn't matter who populated it.
Yeah, what was the beef?
Randy attacked Eddie because they were like, oh, well, you kind of do things Eddie you're doing, da 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 da. And they're like, well, Eddie's just smoking mirrors.
Ooh,
And that's where it started.
that's fine words.
Eddie never really responded because he didn't have to.
Yeah.
Eddie was Eddie Van Halen,
Rest in
right?
peace.
So it's like, and low key, it's a, I don't even want to say it on camera. It's messed up because Eddie didn't speak out on what Randy said until after Randy died.
Yeah, of course.
He didn't say he didn't say anything about well, he said something like, and it was the way Eddie carried himself. You'd think it was cocky, but it wasn't cocky. It was just like, it's just the way he talked. But it wasn't like he was like acting like he invented or doing anything. The tapping thing, did not invent that.
course
If
not.
anybody did it more in a spectacle way, it was better than either of them, and it was Stanley Jordan.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay?
Nobody talks about him though.
Nobody talks about
Yeah,
him, right?
yeah.
Okay. When you have a guitar here and you're doing this here on the other guitar, like I'm sorry, I'm not thinking about Randy or Eddie right
He's
now.
playing a piano. He's also
Right.
It's a whole different approach to playing music. Also, a whole different style of music.
Right, exactly. And so,
He didn't write Panama, so
no, he didn't.
No, he
right,
didn't.
that is a good song. But
yeah, it's a good song.
the point about it is
Sorry.
the point about it is Eddie didn't have to respond it's the same thing with like, what's his name with the whole Drake thing? Pusha T. Drake didn't have to respond. Drake is Drake. Pusha T, nobody wanted to say it to him, but he fell off.
Yeah.
Nobody and it looked like you were doing that shit for clout when you do the story of Adonis and out that you got a son, a secret son. Like he was doing that shit for clout, and you eventually was. And Pusha T was one of my favorite rappers. So I lost respect for him because you going after somebody, and Drake did not have to respond because he's Drake. I'm not even a big Drake fan, but it's Drake.
Yeah, yeah.
So this Eddie Van Halen versus this kid who is, again, pursuing a classical music degree, working with Ozzy. Fantastic. Now, who had better phrasing?
Subjective thing, but
Well,
I would definitely, I'm definitely.
I'll give it to
partial
Randy.
Rhoads, yeah.
I'll give it to Randy because he did have a lot of decent phrasing there. But see,
More musical. To
Eddie
me,
Eddie was in a blues rock thing. He was a fantastic rock guitar player, and what he was doing at the time was a little bit DIY. His thing was raw because there was no training behind it,
Right.
and that's what you have to notice. Somebody to come and attack that, like I don't respect Randy for doing that, but that'll tell you like people who the snob thing still exists even today, where in musicians, even in young, old, whatever, there's a thing where you don't know this or you don't know that, then that doesn't make you something. But see, there's musicians that understand the difference between how Stevie Wonder was able to express himself with so many chord shapes and melodies and everything like that, and Bob Dylan was able to do it with 3 or 4 chords.
Right.
When you understand and you bridge that gap, you understand the ego sort of disappears, or it has to.
Artistry is artistry in,
Exactly.
in any capacity, you know what I mean? And there's people that just kind of have creative minds and they do it one way, and then there's people that have creative minds and do it a different way.
Mm-hmm.
There is something to be said about the education that some people have.
Some of these people
versus,
didn't
you know,
have educations, though. Some of these people didn't. Like, some of these people just literally figured it out.
That's
like the
what I'm
whole
saying.
touched by God thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And so it's like,
There's a clear difference between those people versus like
Sure.
Stevie Wonder was a trained musician,
Absolutely.
obviously, and Bob Dylan was just one of those guys. He was creative as hell,
Right.
and found his thing and made it work for him. So, but like, you know, I can see where some of the like the, it's not that it's like justified, but there is a kind of a thing where it's like trained artists that where they're like, well, this is what I did to get here, and this is like how I'm thinking about it. This person's just, from their perspective, is like they're just winging it, and somehow it's working for them
but that's
better.
but thing about it
it's
is
a weird jealousy thing.
It is
but-
a weird. But the thing about it is that's the ego that has to disappear.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's like, was Eddie winging it? He still practiced. He was still. I mean, he was one of the guys that could play solid while shit-faced drunk
Yeah,
on stage.
yeah.
Because he was a heavy alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know, so
It
and
helps
he-
when you're playing the same show every night.
playing the same show every night, but like, I don't know. It was just like
Learn Eruption.
playing.
He's just being snobby right now.
No.
He's like,
Eruption.
"Hey, Van Halen, whatever."
Eruption. Okay, Eruption's not hard.
It's
Spanish Fly is hard.
Play it then.
I've never sat down. And
Are you
learned
there?
it.
Are you there with me right now?
I'm right there with you.
Are
Let
you
him-
right there with me?
Let him get another couple feet on the hole he's digging. Let him go.
Right.
Yeah.
Eruption's not hard. Spanish Fly is hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
That intro to Mean Streets is hard.
There you go.
A little bit.
I don't know. I don't know how to play guitar. It all is hard.
And hard's also a relative thing too. It's like just what are you comfortable with?
No,
and what aren't
Spanish
you?
Fly is hard. Spanish
But
Fly is-
I'm not trying.
I've never
I'm
learned-
not
I've never
being
tried to learn it.
snobby when I say it's A flat. It's not G sharp. I'm just trying to help. you.
No. Yeah, that,
Like that's it. I'm just trying to.
No.
I'm baby burdening you to get into the right thing. So
Yeah,
so
sorry.
the next time you say it in front of somebody else, God forbid, like
No, it
Eddie
is.
Van Halen or anybody else, whoever you're meeting, so
it
you
is
don't
that.
sound stupid.
I don't think I'm meeting Eddie anytime soon. Hopefully,
Oh
but
man, rest in peace. My father was so upset when he died. I
Me
was
too,
too,
dude.
actually.
Jeez.
Like it was like, you know, because
don't
I
expect
forgot
that.
he had cancer. And I called my dad because my dad was a huge Eddie Van Halen fan, shoved those guys down my throat. Same thing with Iron Maiden, right? This guy would send me an Iron Maiden song every day and tell me how it applied to my life. You know, I'm tired. I mean, you know how tired I am of hearing wasted years of Iron Maiden? Like, I'm like this close to putting my foot through a wall.
it's good that you have that education though, man, because there's a lot of people, myself included, that don't have that kind of awareness of all these different genres of music. It's
That-
important to have that kind of understanding of, you know, why this music works like this and why this person is good for that. And, you know, like just because again, like a lot of guys that come from like the rock world, especially the classic rock stuff, have no appreciation for hip hop. And that's for younger people and older people too. So it's like just having the
Well, again, sorry, did not coach you.
No, go for it.
No, it depends because Aerosmith was collabing with Run DMC.
Totally.
You know
Great
what I mean?
music video.
So it was about how open-minded you were trying to be at the time.
And you know, whatever the angle was, it did a great thing for culture as a whole.
Right.
I don't know that it was like Steven Tyler being like, I love this music, I want to do it. To me, it's more of just like capitalizing on relevance. You know,
I think it was cool. Like, I think things are put together for like money grabs, but again, you gotta understand, man. It's like me and you working together on something. Just like there's no record sort of industry behind us, we're kind of, well, we're not nobody, but it's like we're not like hugely significant, but it's like there's a genuine, you know, exchange. I do believe that still existed even when those things, you're putting these people together. I think these people met and they were like, so what do you want to do? Well, okay, well, oh yeah, I like that. Let's do. I don't think that it was, they could still walk away and say, yeah, I don't know if I'm feeling this, you know? And they decided to do it because these guys got enough money anyway.
Yeah.
So you gotta chalk it up to that
totally.
sometimes.
I'm genuinely curious about it though, because to me, regardless of what it was, the outcome is the outcome, and it did an amazing thing about bridging communities. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I believe like, again, there are some that you can see aren't genuine, but there are some that you do.
Yeah.
And like with the whole knowing about different genres, like that's my dad. That's my mom and dad. Like I always say, like I had parents with good music taste, thank goodness, you know, right?
Yeah.
But my dad was all over the place. You know, my dad, we were listening to so much, you know, stuff. And then there was the Latin stuff, you know, on top of it. Like, you know, that's why I have like a weird love-hate relationship with salsa, because my dad was always playing like Hector Lavoe and, you know, the Fania All-Stars, all, you know, in the kitchen when he was cooking or wherever. Like, El Día de mi Suerte, that song is like, when those trumpets come in on that song, it's kind of haunting. It's like, man, this is like childhood. And it was kind of, you know.
but it's ingrained in you though. That's an important thing. You know?
And it's that thing. It's like, and then there's the hip hop thing, and then there's the R&B thing, and then there's the jazz thing. My father was a huge, like, just like he's a huge Iron Maiden fan, you know, huge Eddie fan, he's a huge Coltrane fan. I remember we were watching, that's our thing sometimes. We get together and we like watch music documentaries, especially jazz music documentaries. We watched the Grant Green documentary together. We watched the Thelonious Monk documentary. We watched the Coltrane documentary. I was in Detroit for a gig, and he was already up. I'm like waking up, you know, because I played all fucking night. And I get up, and he's like watching the Coltrane, the new one that they had did back then, the Coltrane documentary. And I remember he sat there and said, man, when John was playing, he wasn't on this planet, you know. And like, it's like, man, so my dad has that connection to music almost like I do, and it's always like, and he knows everything. Like when I say he knows everything, I'm not lying. Like the dude like knows the music that comes out before I do.
Yeah.
He'll be like, "Did you hear so and so's new album?" I know. I didn't. As you told me, I'm gonna go, you know, check it out. He'll be like, you know, NBA YoungBoy's joint just dropped. He called me one time. It was so funny. I'm sitting in my bed. He called me. He goes, "You up?" I'm like, yeah. What's up? He's like, do you think Gunna's fucking with Lil Baby? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, do you think like, you know, like he can hold a candle to him? I said, well, Gunna used to write for Lil Baby, which you gotta understand. I think Gunna can, you know, sort of surpass Lil Baby the way because I like him, I'm a fan, right? And then he's like, nah, I disagree. I respect your opinion, but I disagree.
This is your introduction.
Did you call me to argue? Like, you call me to argue?
You just open your eyes and this is the conversation.
This is a conversation. Or he's like, hey, you got your wish list, man. You know, Kodak Black and Rod Wave finally did a song. And I'll be like, when did it drop? Like, how do you know this shit, man? Because he's on, like, he's out there, you know? And I feel I'm not, you know? I am, but I'm not.
Is he involved in the industry at all?
People have come up to him. He's done advising and consulting and stuff like that before. He's been in it, you know, but he just knows. He's just knows shit.
Where's he at? Let's get him on the podcast.
He likes to be out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
You know, at times I don't know anymore. Like he likes to be out of sight, out of mind. But every time I see him, like he's dressed up and always, you know, he's out here, you know, looking fly and like, you know. I mean, we went to some spot not too long ago together because it's funny because it was the first time without having to talk about music, without just, you know, having something else to do with, you know, outside, we just hung out, right? And we went to like, I think, you know, rum and jerk or whatever. And we got there and we just hanging out. We just did that, and then we went like and saw, you know, a movie or whatnot. But it was weird because we didn't talk about music. But it was like, yeah, he was always like, you know, and my stepmom always tells me, yeah, your father, your grandfather, they were always fashion forward. I guess that's where I get it from, you know, a little bit. Like they were always fashion forward guys. But my dad, yeah, he a lot of times he likes to be outside out of mind. You know, I would definitely, you know, I'll talk to him. But yeah, him and my mother were the two, like, the musical influence was so vast. My mother was like she was a huge like Guns N' Roses fan, and you know she knew a lot of country stuff too. And I was like, you know, Smoking the Bandit, like she knew that song by heart. I'm like, the fuck you? One time it was like it came on like a commercial. She was singing. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, so it's things like that. Then I was able to sort of bridge the rest of it, like find other types of music. Like I was discovering, I think it was around the time what shaped me as a musician was when my grandfather passed away. When I was a sophomore year in high school was god awful, Jesus. But when he passed away, it was like that kind of was I started to take music seriously because I fell into like this dark place, and I was sinking fast, you know. And the thing that brought me back was sort of the music and sort of getting more into it. Like I said, I was telling you, like I was just playing around with my friends. Like I didn't see becoming a decent musician. That was never in the cards, you know. What I did, you know, set out to do was just hang out, fit in. Everybody was playing whatever. I'm learning some chords. All right, cool. We can rock, you know. But then when he passed away, because before he died, we bought a guitar together, and I was telling one of them that it's a $60 pawn shop guitar. You didn't see it at the gig because it's like the nuts broken on it, but that was my main gigging guitar for a long time. Still is once I get it fixed. And it was $60. We split it ways. I think I paid 30. He paid 30. That was like the only thing like I had to remember him by. And like I said, him and my father were constants in my life, the two constant men in my life. Him and my mother's father. But those two were like, you know, it was always like, it wasn't, with them it was a different vibe. They were always encouraging, you know. And then I found out later on that they hadn't gotten along for years, you know. But together they faked it with me, you know. Which is crazy because if I was older and they were both still alive, I'd have made them squash it, you know. The thing about it is, so yeah, when he died, it was awful. And then sort of came back through music, through practicing, through trying to write. And it took a while. And then the music was something that I always say it saved my life. And it's almost like I owe my life to music. Like in a lot of ways, this whole thing is not about me. It's about the life that I owe to the cause. I have to be the best I can be because I'm almost like a vessel for music. I have to be sharp and sharpen myself and continue to do that because this is the magic and wonders that music can do. And it's not about me. I lose that sometimes, but I always go back to like, remember why you're doing this, you know? And that's the reason is this brought me back. You can't turn your back on this no matter what happens.
I think that's such an important thing to keep perspective on because I feel like most artists I was talking to I have a similar impulse with it as well, you know. Sure. And to me it's like music saved my life in so many regards. Right. And it's like, to me, knowing the power of it is like what I want to bring to the world. So it's like almost
show it what it can do. Show them what it can do to you.
Exactly. And like you feel like you can be a vessel for that thing, so you do it to the best of your ability. Yeah. And which is why when you have a bad night or like you do something that doesn't work, it's the worst feeling is like you guys let the entire world down. Yeah. Even though nobody knows what the fuck you're doing.
That's like when you came to me after the gig and I was so not happy with that gig. Like I wanted to like it pissed me off because this is John Parker Urban. I can't embarrass myself in front of these guys. I want to do, this was my last big gig for a while that was like all inclusive originals and it was big band and everything. It wasn't just acoustic stuff. And I just shat the bed, I felt like. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Over stupid shit, you know? And I was like, the certain things stopped working, certain things, these are people that wanted to hear my originals for so long. Shane's there, John's there, you're there. Everybody's there. And I'm like, and then you were like, don't beat yourself up. And I'm like, no, but see, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
It's because I hold, like, it ain't about putting on a perfect show. It's about, like, I want to express. There's times, man, sometimes you got to play, like, Jerry Garcia talked about this, like, I remember seeing a clip of it. He took some mushrooms and then thought, like, the mob was trying to get him.
Yeah,
and the fuck.
I've
You
seen
seen
that?
that? And
Yeah.
then he's like, I played for my life. I played for my life and they let me live. And he said, and he's like, whenever I forget what I'm doing or what I need to do, I play for my life. And it's sort of an extension of that. I'm not playing for my life, but I am playing to think of it. If I died tomorrow, it's the last thing you have to remember me by. It's the last place you saw me, the last thing you saw me doing. Would I be happy with how I came across in that moment?
Totally.
And that's the thing about it.
We all get that kind of shit. Most people don't pick up on the things that you're picking up on those gigs, which is why I was saying that, because I had the same thing when I was exactly your age, and somebody, like, I was playing on a gig with somebody and they were like, hey man, you did a great job. I was like, oh no man, I fucked up here, I fucked up there, and he just stopped me dead in my tracks. He was like, hey, just take the compliment.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
And he's like, because most people don't hear what you hear, number one. But I understand that impulse. And it's like, I was talking to my sister the other day, and she was asking about some stuff that she's got going on. And she was talking about, like, her new job that she's got going, and a career path or whatever. And she was like, do you think that I could, like, end up owning my own company? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I think that you could. I think that, like, most people can, but you'll know when you're ready to, because it's the same impulse that you have, like, when you need to drink water. It's like you might not even know how thirsty you are until you start drinking, and all of a sudden you can't stop. Mm-hmm. That's the impulse to create, or whatever the passion is. Like, that's the passion right there.
It's almost like, man, and I've reached a point in my life, and lately I've been hanging around a lot of people who are in the party mode, right? And I party. I have a good time, right? When it's time to have a good time.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, well, let's do this, let's, and not even like, sometimes the stuff they're doing is lame. All they want to do is, like, do drugs and drink. Like, and we're not doing anything. We're not going to go out and fucking get chased by the cops. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing,
Nothing exciting.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm from Florida. Like, we're not going to really do this,
Yeah.
We're going to do it. We need to do it, So anyway, like, it's lame in that sense, but it's like, I see a lot of these people in these holes in life, and seeing, like, again, and I'm not judgmental at all. Everybody has some kind of issue, right? Everybody has things they choose not to address if that's their prerogative, okay? But it's like, you see what's fun for people, right? And, like, going out drinking, going out hanging out, going out partying, doing whatever, that's fine. But honestly, I take a night over honing in my craft. And I don't mean staying in the house and practicing guitar all night. That's not what I mean. Or practicing your instrument all night. That's not what I mean. But actually creating something, maybe being in the studio and finishing up a project, even though as tedious as studio recording still is, but knowing what I need to get out and feeding that. And again, going back to, if I'm not doing anything musically enough in a day, it's not fulfilling. And then on top of that, it's not fulfilling, not just for me, because it's not about me, like I'm saying. I need to do this. Time needs to be allotted to this, because this is, don't forget why you're here.
This is the purpose. Yeah.
And so it's like, not even just that, it feeds you, so it's great. I'd take a night over that, doing that, over any kind of party in any day.
Oh, 100%.
Take a night over sitting, writing a song with somebody over a party any day, or anything like that where something magical has to happen. And I see a lot of people in the scene, which, again, I've always, like, kept one foot in the scene, one foot out, because I've always kind of been removed. Like you, I play all around and outside of town, right? And come in, you go to a few of the jams, hang out. I didn't know about any of them really till this year, because I was going out, but with a purpose, to promote certain gigs, right? Otherwise, I'm not going out, because it's like, or going to those, because I'm not making any money. And, I'm not a snob about playing free. I'll play if I want to play, even if it's free. But it's like, what are we doing here?
It's time and a place. Yeah, 100%.
Time and a place. So it's like that. And so it's like, you see a lot of people, like, getting on with age and all that. And there's nothing wrong like with getting older, but you see a lot of people like doing certain things, and the thing that's kept me focused is the fact that there is a purpose, there is an end game to this. It's not necessarily the fame and fortune, even though that would be nice. Still, I like paying my bills with money. I mean, not with money, with music.
Yeah.
We all pay bills with money. I like paying my bills with music, but it's like there's something deeper where you want to let the world know not who you are in a selfish way, but you want to let the world know the power of this
Of the music.
entity,
Yeah,
right?
totally. And that's 100% right.
You're
and
going for that.
And that's, I mean, I talk about it all the time, just about like, pacing, like going to the jams, and like, I make like one appearance, I'll come out maybe like a week or two, and then I'm gone for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Because again, like you get stuck in the partying mode,
Bro.
and then you get like, it's too much
And
socializing.
it's like when people handing me a drink while I'm trying to play is foreign.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, bro, I'm already high. Like I'm already enjoying myself.
Yeah, and even yeah, exactly.
I'm already up here,
and
10
even
feet tall right now.
and even beyond that, it's like there's so much that goes into this thing, like playing a gig or like being at a jam, like whatever gigs pay bills right now, and the jams are fun to socialize and see people, but it's like there's so much that goes into this thing that like you can't be out all the time, and if you are, you're
Bro.
going to keep like that's going to be the
Dude,
thing
and
forever.
it's like this where the songwriting thing, and I don't know if you have any questions pertaining to that yet. I don't want to rush anything, but the songwriting aspect of things is like I used to tell George this. I used to go, man, I go out it's almost like going out as social experiments now.
Yeah.
It goes from like being out, you want to hang out with your boys. You want to hang out with your boys and do all that, but you go out for what? Experiences, right?
Yeah.
You go out for something like trying to feed you life-wise. And then on top of that, you see like, oh, this is kind of, I looked at it one day, I was like, no, it's kind of a social experiment. That's what me going out anytime is. It's like, do you want to go out and do this? Like, yeah, I could write. You know what I mean? I could pull something. Let's see if there's something in store for me tonight that I can pull from one day. Or let's see if there's something I can think back on. Let's see if something can happen. Let's see if I can experience something, that's out of the norm, And that's the thing about it, these experiences. You go out and it's almost like social experiments for your writing, for your craft. For me, at least.
Sure, but I think that, and Bill, feel free to chime in whenever.
Where?
But there's a value in relationships too, I think.
No, that too. No, the relationships, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, to go out and just, let's say you want to go out and hit the beach bars, do some crazy shit. I mean, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
That shit sucks though. Once you get like older, I hate doing that crap now. Anyways,
Well, I'm 22, so
Yeah.
fucking live it up for the next 8 years, and then tell me how you feel when you're 33. And you'll be like, yeah, I'm never doing that again.
But I don't know, like,
all I do is pregame now.
hopefully pre-game nothing.
Bring
Pre-game,
it back.
yeah. No, it's like this, man. There's points in my life where I want to be. Like, I don't want to be going out doing crazy shit at 33. Like, I don't want to be in my 30s, but like acting like I'm 20.
It's fun.
It is fun, but it's like,
because you have 30-year-old money.
I see you got 30-year-old money, but 30-year-old
Well,
money
some of us
needs
do.
to go to like 30-year-old responsibilities. You know?
Hell
what I mean?
yeah, I'm responsible. I'll pay my bills on
So
time.
it's like,
I fucking do.
Yeah.
What's up?
So it's like but you see a lot of that. And again, no judging, no looking down, but you see a lot of 30-year-olds like trying to be in their 20s, trying to like live it up like they're in their 20s, or like trying to do that desperately. And it's like, bro, like, it's all right, man. Like, it's cool.
It's just a priority thing. It's a like what you're trying to do, and partying is fun and it's got its place. And I think that the experience is great, and like taking a break from the grind is important.
Absolutely.
And you need to do that.
Yeah.
But there's also like a time and a place for things, and I think that part of being a musician is, yes, going to the jams and quote unquote networking. I hate that term sometimes, but
I thought you loved it.
no, I mean, I don't mind doing it when I have
You
to.
love it.
Yeah.
But networking, but then also honing your skills, performing, and then keeping. You're good. You're good.
Damn,
There
I'm
you
so
go.
sorry.
No, that was gross. You're disgusting. Never coming
So
back
sorry.
again. But then also just the relationships that you build with people, being out there. It's just good to like have friends, outside of the context
yeah,
of music. So all of that stuff has value, but then there's still the other side of it where
I got to go back home.
you got to
Get
go
back
home.
on
You
it.
need to practice. Like practicing is still a real thing. You need to be writing. You need to like there's a business side of it. There's like thinking about, like, you do have to think about.
There's a work ethic side.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you do have to think about what social media looks like and how you're gonna, what you're gonna do, and it takes a lot of time. And if you want to go on tour, you have to figure out how we're gonna book this tour. What does it look like logistically, budget wise, and like how are we doing all?
That's exactly. You're 100% right. You hit it on the head, because it's like, you do what I do. We do almost the same thing, play out and everything like that. And it's like, what I've always done is that, and I've been fortunate to have fantastic opportunities. I hope more come. But it's like, again, when I say 1 foot in the scene, 1 foot out of the scene, it's like, man, I didn't step foot into this whole musicians community here. Like, I'm not here without having met you guys in this certain places. So it's like, I didn't know any of that existed. And on top of that, when you're a musician, you get the shit kicked out of you, I don't mean like actually kicked out of me. I wish somebody fucking tried. Anyway, so like, but you get like, you grind and you're around getting sort of put down all the time. I tell you, man, being around you guys and being around a lot of other people in these places that see and say, like, hearing I'm a good player, that's not something I hear often, and not even in the circles I hang around, because those circles have kind of dissipated, but that's my frame of reference for what was ever something beforehand, right?
I hear you, yeah.
And so
I think
it's
every
like,
musician goes through that, for sure.
And hearing like, okay, you dig these songs. I've always gotten like, I dig this song, I dig that, but it's always in small little places, And I guess, it's like, people gravitating like you did, like to the songwriting more than the guitar playing. Because I say this once and I'll say it again. I do not give a shit about being a good guitar player. I just don't. Like, it's cool. I don't know if I'm good or whatever. That's a whole different, that's a loaded question for me anyway, that I prefer not to answer ever, right? But it's like, that doesn't get far to me. Like, there's great guitar solos and I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but that's the musician in me. What music is moving me, right?
Right.
And then when there's the lyricism, which I was a writer before I was actually a guitar player. That was my forte. That was what I went to school for. I brought that. I thought I was going to, like, I thought you were going to be going longer, so I was going to read. Like, I'm big into poetry. I'm trained in poetry. I released a poetry book when I was 17. Like, I'm a published author. Like, I wrote a second book during the pandemic. And so it's like, the writing part is more like, I care about saying something that moves people, and I care about getting something across. Like, that's always been my thing. But again, like, what does guitar playing do? Like, it's cool. Music arrangement knowledge is great. What am I gonna do? Put a little solo here, do a little cool thing there on the record. Oh, that's here. Do that, and then
I think it's a perspective thing again. I think that, like, there's
it can be very great and enriching. Like I said, the guitar is a instrument that knows no bounds. I do 100% believe that.
Yeah, and you can, and I think it's just like what speaks to you. I mean, the guitar playing stuff is great. I've always been moved by songwriting, first, and then guitar came later.
Right.
But I've also been moved in a way by guitar players and guitar solos. And like musicians across the board, like drummers, pianists, yeah, like there's solos and there's things that are being said on the instrument that can like affect you in a certain way. So I think it's that to me is what strives, like that's why I practice guitar a lot, because I want to be a great writer. I want to be like a great a songwriter, but I also want to be able to communicate the same emotion through the guitar.
Well, see, you're absolutely right. And like, I don't mean to say like that music isn't a language of its instrumentation isn't a language of itself, because it is. There's things that move me, whether it's guitar solos, whether it's this, whether it's that, whether it's whole arrangements. The thing about it is, like, I guess I look at it differently, because the way I practice guitar is like, practicing guitar for me, as it always has been, is almost like I said, it brought me back, right? Or playing music brought me back. It's almost like a nervous tick. I can't sleep, I practice. I get anxious, I practice.
Same, yeah.
I go straight to the guitar.
Totally.
It's almost like that's the second thing. I noodle or whatever, and that's the thing I go to.
Yeah.
I don't go like do something. I don't go chug a fifth of vodka. I don't do it like, because that's not what I know. Like, you know, and I'm glad I don't know drinking and drugs as an impulse. But I know, like, to rush to that instrument when I feel like the world is coming down on me, or there's something, you know, I've never been a heavy anxiety-ridden person, but I think that's because I play guitar. It's why I'm not an anxiety-ridden person, you know. And so it's things like that where even small things, like the reason I don't, like, I see people smoking, like you smoke cigarettes and there's people that vape and everything like that. And I know those are signs of like stress, or like you smoke them because you're stressed, or there's anxiety and things attached to that.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And I know that because my grandfather smoked cigarettes for years and all that stuff like that. And like I said, drinking, alcoholic, drug addicts, all in the family. We got it, you know. As if that's not a common thing nowadays, right? So the thing about it is like, I guess I never had those tics. I never had those things, is because like music sort of pulled me out of this dark state. And then before that, it was like physical things, like sports and all these other things to do, right?
So you've been able to put it into something productive, which is important.
Something productive, or something as an outlet. Because like I was telling you, the martial arts thing, like that whole thing was like, that was a bad way to exert my energy, because it was making me a bad person. It was making me like we were angry. Me and my cousin, we came up kind of the same way. We were angry kids growing up, right? Mm-hmm. And we took to fighting, and we took to doing all this stuff, right? And it's one of those things where you're not like healthily excrementing this thing, you're feeding the beast.
It's an interesting perspective.
I had to let that part go because I didn't like who I was becoming. That's why I stopped it altogether. I still practice, still like keeping shape, but I stopped. And there were a few other things that happened that was like a wake-up call, but it was like I stopped altogether because that was like not going anywhere positive. That was going somewhere destructive very fast.
Right.
As to music, it had a different effect on me. It made me more of a peaceful thing. And then when I made peace with the whole thing with martial arts, because I was like, okay, it's an art form. When I saw it through that lens, I'm like, I get it now. So I don't have to let it go. And so with music, it's like the juxtaposition of the two times in my life where, because I picked up music pretty late. I started playing guitar when I want to say I was 15.
That's hilarious. You say it's late. I was 14. I think that's kind of early.
14, 15 is around there, middle school time, right? Well, that's the time I started doing a lot of things. But,
yeah.
But, you know, it's like that kind of thing is like, it feeds me in that way, like jumping on guitar. Like I want to be expressive, but like I'm already kind of being expressive because it's like I'm getting something out still.
Right.
Like when I play, like there was one time we were, you know, practicing for a gig, me and the other guys, right? Caleb, George, and Eugene. And I told George I started playing Maggot Brain. Because I had some shit on my mind, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I started playing the chords, and George started soloing, and then he started playing the chordal stuff on bass, and I just like let it fly. Because I was like, oh, I was sad or pissed or something, right? I didn't feel like singing any of my songs. I didn't feel like doing, like, I just wanted to, you know, because that was that thing of where that record was pure expression, right? Eddie Hazel, one of my favorite guitar players.
Yeah, totally.
You know, that was pure expression there, because the whole story was like, well, there's one story where it's like, oh, he was drunk and they found him, and in order to sober him up, they were like, George, what do we do? And George Clinton was like, tell him his mom died. And I was like, that's fucked up, but yeah, that got it done. And then there was one, like, there's another iteration of that story where he was like, how you want me to play it? And George was like, play it like your mom died. You know, either way, it's still kind of like, you know, the second one's a little bit better. The first one, that's kind of fucked up.
That's hilarious.
But,
the first one, yeah.
But yeah, so it's like things like that where you know you can express yourself on an instrument without even having to talk. That's a gift I will never take for granted. But I don't always see the practicality in it when approaching music.
Yeah, totally.
Or not the practicality. I don't always see like the immediate use for it when I do have words. Because before that, I had words. You know what I mean?
That's the first thing that you had.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome, man. Bro, I could sit here and talk to you about, like, we could do a whole other episode on all this shit.
Without a doubt.
100%. We got to move on to the news segment. What are we calling it now?
Bottom line news.
Bottom line news. You don't like that?
I haven't said it out loud yet.
It's a working title.
We're just texting it back and forth.
We're working it out.
But whatever. If you can find any great puns for news and our podcasting, that'd be great.
Yeah. For right now, it's a working title, Bottom Line News. So what we're doing is we're basically just kind of highlighting like a new current event that's happening within music. This one's kind of it's music related, but
Music-ish, because like really, because the more I go into it, I was like, oh shit, this really isn't about music, is it?
I mean, but it does affect artists. I'm curious about
Tell
how it does.
the kids what's happening.
Okay, so YouTube Shorts and TikTok are basically having like a big kind of thing right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's the article. YouTube is trying to adapt to the new TikTok model, and so obviously they've created their Shorts platform.
Everybody has. It's annoying.
Totally, but YouTube is talking about paying up to 45% of their ad revenue from the Shorts to their content creators.
So let me ask. So if you were having a normal like 10-minute long YouTube clips, like you're not going to make that much money off of the revenue.
That's what.
But if you do it on Shorts to get people to start doing YouTube Shorts more instead of going to TikTok, they're going to pay you 45%, which is like way more, right?
Right, but
is that's what you're getting at?
Yeah, because because the TikTok right now on TikTok, the content creator like payment system, basically it's like a pool, right? So there's $1 billion in TikTok allocated to paying creators on the platform,
right,
that are at a certain amount, and they can't really calculate why the creators are like what creators making what based on the amount of views, because there's so many things that come into play. Where's it at in the feed? What came before that video in the feed? What comes after it on that feed? Is that playing into to the success rate that video is seeing on TikTok as far as views and engagement go? So what TikTok does is they create a pool, $1 billion, and they pay per view after a certain amount of views. And it ends up being like if you have 200,000 views or something on a video, you get like $200 or some shit for the month.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
It's not a lot for the amount of money, for the amount of time that you're doing. So yeah, the creator fund right here, pool of $200 million unveiled this summer. Plan to expand to $1 billion in the U.S. over the next 3 years, double that. And then basically what YouTube is saying is that they're going to create it's not a pooling system.
They never have had a pooling system.
But the problem is that they use ads on 10-minute long videos.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So the video, they don't know how it's going to translate to YouTube Shorts. So yeah, they give you more percentage of ad revenue, but you can't really advertise.
Just call
on YouTube
it what
Shorts.
it is, YouTube, and you're just making TikTok and you're just competing with TikTok. That's the end of it. That's it.
It's like that.
It's
like that. What that? You ever heard of? Well, you may have heard the dude that has the Instagram handle, the Shiggy Show, right? And he was like, when Instagram started doing Instagram stories, he got on Instagram and was like, "Yo, Instagram, relax, like, let Snapchat have their shit, man." Like, you know, so it's kind of like that, you know, like, you know, he's like, you're trying to make it better, but it's not working. It's like,
well, because the problem is what ends up happening is that you have like this confusion as to what the platform is,
so
and right
annoying now because
I think it's more of like them trying to end, because they're all owned by the same person. I think. Well, TikTok might
not TikTok, but
right.
Instagram and Facebook are. Snapchat's owned by a different company.
Well, not Snapchat. I mean, I meant like
Snapchat's
YouTube.
done though, or it's about
still
to, no,
very
it's still
operational.
it's still a thing.
the stock's like next to nothing now.
Yeah.
Facebook,
out.
Instagram, and like I don't know if YouTube isn't owned by the same person.
No, YouTube is by Google.
Right,
Yeah.
YouTube's by Google. So I think it's like, again, it's like them trying to compete with each other, and like that's what it was. TikTok kind of is taking the world by storm, unfortunately. Like I'm not a huge fan of TikTok.
I'm a huge fan of TikTok.
You
are?
It's fun to watch.
Like not by choice either. It's like addicting. as
It's
hell.
not, to me, it's not.
so
It's like, bro,
bad.
I scroll through a couple of videos. I'm like, bro, this is not it. And I just exit the text.
Yeah.
app.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, there's times like I'll be scrolling through it, and it's like if I got stuff to do, I won't spend very much time on it. But
Yeah, of course.
if I'm like bored as fuck at home, I'm just like nothing to watch on
That's
TV.
what I'm doing now.
I'll do it. But like, this whole thing's kind of wild though, because the thing is that this is for like geared towards content creators, but I'm curious as to what it means for artists, because there's deals that TikTok signs with like major labels on licensing the music, right? So I'm curious as to how artists get paid.
From YouTube?
Well, no, on YouTube versus TikTok and how that like the YouTube Shorts versus TikTok is going to affect
I think the
licensing on either platform.
I think the TikTok is a little like TikTok. Okay, TikTokers can get like sort of propelled into getting a good payday, but the TikTok payout, every payout is slow.
Oh, TikTok payout is also marginal. Like, there's no way to make a living off of it. What TikTokers make money on is
with
like
YouTube. You can
Yeah.
monetization. That's a thing where
because
you make
YouTube-
YouTube videos for a living. Those guys, there's several people doing that.
yeah, and YouTube will pay like outside of Shorts, like on actual videos will pay 50% of ad revenue to their creators, which is great. But that's all cool. And where artists are making money on TikTok is more from the deals that they get, like the brand deals and partnerships that they get from other companies off of the TikTok platform. I'm curious as to the deals that they're working out, like that $50 billion deal that they signed with Sony to get rights to the music. Now with YouTube Shorts, how is it going to affect, the artist aspect on these platforms, right?
I still don't really understand. Like, could you think of an example that it would affect?
So if I use a clip that has a song in the background for let's say with an artist, do they have exclusive rights with TikTok?
You can't do
And
that on YouTube,
And does that change with YouTube Shorts now? Like,
That's why YouTube sucks so much for Shorts, because you can't. I'm sure they've got like a little bit of a library or whatever, but that you can't do that with YouTube. You'll get taken down in a heartbeat.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just curious as to how it's going to work out for artists. Is there a way we can look that up?
Probably
like TikTok
not
stuff
good
versus
is
YouTube
what I'll
Shorts
say.
on the artist front.
I think YouTube Shorts are like they're almost like precursors to videos on YouTube. Really, I mean, they're not. I don't think they're the exact same as TikTok videos. They're definitely not. It's like they're almost like precursors to like a YouTube channel, or like almost like an advertisement. You can think of it that way.
Kind of how they want to operate, but the problem is that people aren't consuming, because Reels and TikTok don't work that way.
Sure.
So people aren't consuming the Shorts in that fashion. That's what YouTube wants it to do, but they're not seeing the conversion rates to subscriptions on their platform. So they're trying to figure out how they compete, and the only way they can figure out how to compete is to offer more money per like on the views.
Just buy TikTok, like duh. That's the end of it. Google's got enough money. Seriously, like, I'm so sick now of how everything, like, TikTok just took off, and so every social media platform is like, that's it now. Every single thing on Instagram is.
I don't know,
a
bro. Like,
movie
Well,
and
it's not
everything.
them; it's a consumer that's changing it.
It's the consumer, but like TikTok, man, I can't. I like it. It's cool a little bit, but it's like I don't get addicted to it. It's always like something like. It's almost like Instagram too. Like I was sitting down with the.
Which one's better for artists, for musicians? Is that a question on there? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Good. No, I was sitting down with a friend, and I was like, the same guy that had the harmony. He's like, man, I had to delete Instagram. I'm like, why? I don't know, man. It was like it was targeting me. Like it was like projecting my insecurities back onto me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. So it's like, I guess TikTok. He's like, yeah, TikTok is like some people felt that way about TikTok. It's like, it's like Twitter, dude. I don't have Twitter. I think Twitter's
Yeah, I don't
like
think
the
Twitter
devil.
at all.
It's
Yeah.
like people put their opinions on there, and enough people like it, and they think that's like validation, and like what they're saying is like some
Totally.
real shit. It's
I
some
just
hot
think-
shit, and that ain't it. Like you just said, the dumbest shit still.
Yeah,
but
but-
like a bunch of dummies liked your shit.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing a little bit with TikTok. Like people which is fine, put their opinions on there, and it's cool. But then it's like sometimes it's cool, sometimes there's some nifty stuff on there, but other times it's like. And I just sat through a minute, 2 minute, 3 minute long video, and I can't get that time back. You know?
Yeah, yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally.
I like Twitter a lot. It's the only reason why it's good is because the super famous people all have it, and then they'll put like their little blurbs, or I'm sorry, with the tweets as they call them.
tweets. Yep.
But I'm not really on Twitter.
Dude, I've never.
Titter.
Yeah. Titter. Oh, jeez.
Where do you guys stand on the Truth platform? Are you guys into
What's
the
that?
Truth?
Hell yeah, Truth.
Donald Trump's
Our
new
fearless leader,
Twitter
yeah. Oh,
platform.
jeez.
Our actual president.
He's doing a lot of retruthing these days.
Read Truth.
Yeah. Okay, so what does this say?
I think it's so early. It's hard to like. There's a lot of people not really able to like pick which one's better yet per se.
For the artist?
But according just to this, Forbes list, it looks like the conventional YouTubers are taking the
Yeah, they got way more.
money home.
Yeah, of
So
course.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they got to be.
That's
You can make a living off.
I want to know who has more users. Like it's got.
TikTok has more users
Are
right
you
now.
sure?
Yeah.
As
compared to
far
shorts,
as far as the shorts go, now it's
No, yeah, like YouTube. Period. I know that they're trying to add something to their platform, but YouTube's got way more.
YouTube's
than
got more.
TikTok,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'm just like everybody uses YouTube, and the whole point of YouTube, in my opinion, is it's so educational. TikTok has. You could say that there is educational
There is
stuff in
educational
it.
purpose
There
to
is,
it, yeah.
Sure.
but there's a lot of fluff.
Yeah, well, it caters very much to how interactive you are with it. So depending on what you're looking at,
Of
what
course.
so it will show you things based on that. Now, if you want to be educational, you can.
And you can look up hashtags and stuff like that, but you can't look up how to change your oil on a 2003 Ford Expedition on
No,
TikTok.
YouTube is better for
That's
that.
what YouTube's so great at.
The problem-
Just keep YouTube the same. Quit trying to mess with
well,
stuff.
I think it's gonna come down to like we talked about GUI a couple weeks ago with Jack Mock, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be like if YouTube knocks it out of the park,
Exactly. That's the only
that's
way.
gonna take over. But like right now, it's it's basically this whole pros and cons thing is like what you're saying. Like more people are on TikTok, but you can make more money on YouTube, so it
Just
would be the better choice
another-
as long as it's friendly to be. on.
Another fucking social
again-
media thing that I've got to take care of now, and then just okay, I guess we're doing it every single one. It's just gonna be like all the streaming platforms. There's gonna be 100 different social media platforms, and you gotta do all of them. It's great.
It's just a weird
I
thing.
love this generation. It's amazing.
Just a weird thing. I'm curious to how it's going to affect musicians
Fucking hate it so
overall
much.
because just of like the partnership deals that TikTok has worked out and how how YouTube is going to pivot or adjust to that on the shorts side of it. You know what I mean? And maybe it's more advantageous for a content creator to be on YouTube Shorts for the purpose of making more money. However, if TikTok gives you more creative licensing, then it might be worth to take the hit on the money side just so you have more creative freedom.
I think, yeah. I mean, there's certain artists like what's her name, Bella Porch or whatever her name is. She's this chick who used to just do videos on TikTok, and now she could actually sing, and she played ukulele and maybe some guitar, and she's got songs out now. She's on I've seen one of these videos where they had an all-star commercial where they had Diplo and fucking her and Meg Thee Stallion. They're waiting in line for the bathroom or something while they was waiting on him to get out there. It was crazy shit. But to see that person shift from that, and then she actually does have talent. But I think it's whatever, and then I guess the Charlie and Dixie, what's their last names? The D'Amelio or whatever, the two TikTok dancers.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Got they've done. I mean, it's the same thing. Okay, here's the thing. There are people that actually have talent, but then there's people who get on YouTube or TikTok and then they get famous for doing a little dance, right? Or doing a little whatever. Then they got a song out. And it's okay, and it's not great, or it might be great, but it's they're not musically inclined. It's just something they can do, so they do it,
Right.
But there is an opportunity to where people who are doing it and that are trying to do their thing and get their stuff out, it does work that way.
Totally. And that's another thing I'm curious about is okay, the money might be on YouTube, but is the opportunity on TikTok, right? Because a lot of the brand partnerships that are happening and a lot of the deals they're getting struck with artists on
Chris,
YouTube.
look up the most popular TikTok guy and the deal that he just got. It's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
No, but I was reading a little bit about some of the people that have gotten crazy deals on TikTok. And what I'm curious about is if the same opportunity exists on YouTube, again, they might pay you more on the ad revenue side. However, if the ads aren't on shorts, then are you getting any revenue at all? And is the opportunity the same because there's not as many people on the shorts platform as there are on the TikTok platform?
I just don't understand, just logistically, how they're gonna get ads onto your
YouTube
TikTok.
Shorts.
I think that's that. Yeah. Is it? Can you show a picture of him? Yeah, that guy.
Oh, the dude did
Yeah, he just
does something random and
Come
then
on,
just
come on. But look, the deal that he just got was ridiculous just a little while ago. I don't know if that's the right article. I saw it today, but that might be it. It might be something else. But yeah, he's getting. There's some company that's paying him, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure $750,000 a TikTok post.
That's wild.
So
They
ridiculous.
do the same thing on Instagram though. Also, with
I know.
people.
I just think it's insane though. All
And-
that money.
Yeah, and would that opportunity have it afforded itself on YouTube Shorts? because there's not as many viewers on there, right? So then
Probably
the brand
not.
is like, well, we're not going to pay you $750,000 a post on shorts. You might get 45% of the ad revenue
Yeah,
of
percent.
what ads,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But like, there's more eyes on TikTok. So even though TikTok doesn't pay you the same per ad, it still
So
pays
it's
off
gonna
in
be
the
like
opportunity.
it's gonna be like so after you go through a YouTube short, the next thing is gonna be an ad, and you get the money off of that ad.
I don't know.
Or is it during your TikTok and they split it up halfway between your YouTube short? Like you get to watch half of a YouTube short and then a 20-second ad, and then
they're
the
still
rest
trying
of
to
it?
figure that out. That's the
You
part they're
can't
still trying
do
to figure out. Yeah.
Get out of here, YouTube Shorts.
So I don't know.
There you go.
TikTok.
Yeah, I was right. I don't know how
Yeah.
to say his name, but that guy's hilarious.
Copy
Good for you.
lane.
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious as how it translates to the music world. You know, as it stands right now, I still think TikTok is probably the better
Yeah.
platform for artists, just in terms of the deals that you can strike from the notoriety on TikTok.
The thing about it is that it may not, like, YouTube has got put on some artists, but not like crazy.
I mean, Justin Bieber got
sure,
popular,
but that's back in the, you know,
That was like 10 years
the
ago.
hot
Sure.
the hot streak. And the thing about it is, like, yeah, that time, you know why that
And
kinda
they
thing
farmed
happened.
it too.
Right.
Totally.
But now it's like, in the last 10 years, I don't think I've seen a major artist come from YouTube or TikTok.
Well, what was that chick who got shot out front of the social
Oh,
in Orlando?
That chick, yeah, okay, the British chick,
Well,
right?
what was her name?
Christina Grimmie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
her,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Brian
So
Grimmie.
yeah, so there's still artists blowing up on YouTube, but the argument isn't about YouTube versus TikTok. It's about shorts versus TikTok.
Shorts versus
right. So I don't.
But what you're saying in the grand scheme of things, what it means for the music, and
Right.
right. I think, like, I really don't think it's gonna put too big of a dent in it. Like, we've seen some artists come up, like the Bella Porch chick, but the same thing is, like, I don't know any of her songs, and I'm not the world's leading authority on what's popping in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, not all the time.
What-
you know?
what the kids are saying.
Depending on what you. Okay, depending on the day and depending on the artist, yeah. But, like, not from any of, you know, the circle and circulating it. You know, so it's like major artists are like, this is the next big thing. But an artist on, I don't know if it's gonna be that. It could surprise us because TikTok is still fairly new.
Yeah, it's very
It's
new,
still
yeah.
fairly coming into its own.
And they're still trying to figure out, like even their current monetizing system, like TikTok is in agreement that it's not working, because even in the last year, they've noticed a huge drop in how they're paying out their content creators. So a year ago, where you could, because it's a pool that they're basically that they're kind of distributing amongst all their creators, like they've noticed that it's now, like a year ago you could make a living, but now you can't because it's a set amount being distributed amongst more people.
Right.
That's what they'll do, is just jump from one. What even do you call TikTok, really? Like, it's a social media platform, but really it's just constant stream of videos. There's got to be something else.
It's just a content creating platform.
Yeah, but like there needs to be like a term for it.
A
There's
content creating platform.
every platform is a content creating.
No, but this is
I'm talking
specifically
about, like-
meant for content creators, though, versus Instagram or
No,
like.
I just don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to say. Like the style of it, like versus like Instagram or anything.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
just like that stream.
Because there's social media, which is a very broad term, which is like I think of Facebook, and you're posting stuff and you're posting around your friends and everything like that. But like TikTok is just like you open it and then it just poof, it goes like that.
Yeah, that article had
It's
a
like a
term
fucking
for
weed
it.
eater.
Did you see it, Chris?
I'll look for it real quick.
Yeah, that article had a term for it. It was just like, it's just like the actual like
Yeah.
GUI, I guess it's called.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That makes it so addictive or whatever because
Yeah.
there's no end to it. And most social media programs are like that. But anyways.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win this one out. I don't know. I mean, YouTube is a monolith. I mean, it's like Google's the biggest corporation in the
Who
world.
owns
but, like,
TikTok? It's just China owns it?
no, it's the company. I mean, they more or less, yeah. But there's a company. I forget that article also mentions a company that's called, and they call it that poultry thing that we were talking about earlier.
Poultry.
That's not the company. That's the pool that they have for like the funds. It's $1 billion or whatever it was. You know,
It was
X
$1
amount.
billion. What is
Yeah,
it?
it was, TikTok's was $1 billion and YouTube's was 30 billion.
Yeah, but
30
again, and
billion.
the way
Good
that it disperses again, like TikTok is a collective pool that they equally disperse amongst their creators versus YouTube, which pays you based on your ad revenue per
So much money
thing. Lots of money
for dances.
Either way, we don't think it's like the GUI is not like the name of that's not
what
necessarily
it
that,
is. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
What we've evolved to.
but yeah. So I don't know.
I'm not really saying it's good or bad. It's just like, did anybody predict this shit? Like in the 70s or whatever?
I don't know.
Were we supposed to be exploring space at some point in time? Is that still happening?
Totally, Elon
Whatever. I
Musk.
sound like old man
This
right
is
now.
1984. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, I love TikTok.
It's
and
like the
everything.
book. We're talking about the book 1984. Yeah. Oh man, we're supposed to be doing all this stuff. Like I'm.
The funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life is on TikTok, and that's all we do. Just go back and we just send TikToks to each other all day, and it's just like
Dude,
holy,
there's
like I found something funnier than this, man.
There's people that send me stuff on TikTok. I don't see it for like 3 days. I'm like, I'm not opening TikTok today.
That shit's so fun. But there was like that one that I sent you earlier, where it's just like this chick walks
Oh,
out with the
God,
baby. He's like,
yeah.
he's like drops it in the guy's lap, and was just like, you left that in me. It's just so good. All right. So, anyways, unpopular opinions.
Yeah.
Fucking do it.
Well, mine. We talked about it already in the podcast, so I guess I had to throw it
Oh,
away.
you can do that if you
No,
want.
I already said it out loud. I've got another one that we can do. But the first one I was gonna say is that grunge music and Eddie Vedder and like I didn't even consider Michael McDonald, but 100%. Yeah, that's just mumble rap of the 90s. What's up?
Of the 80s, like bro,
80s, 90s, whatever.
Bro, if you tell me you know the words to a Michael McDonald
There you
song,
go.
bro, I don't want to like, bro, I don't trust you around my kids, bro. I don't even have kids. It's like I would never like you the special kind of liar, bro. You the type like you could fool a polygraph. I don't want you around me, man.
Let's get real. Anybody like a super famous song like what's the name of oh my god, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana, right?
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm just saying that song you hear for the very first time, and lucky you get to hear it for the very first time. You write down all the lyrics. Go ahead, write them down. Without knowing what they are.
There,
You can.
I will say this. Okay, there are like coherent.
That's an easy one.
There are coherent grunge songs. I'm not even gonna say.
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie.
Totally.
There are coherent grunge songs. I was talking about. I'm not even talking about grunge. I'm talking about like even like other stuff Eddie Vedder says. It's fine. Just that second verse in Yellow Ledbetter is like, what the fuck is going on?
He's not really saying anything.
And then like again, Michael McDonald is like, don't tell me you know what he's saying. Right.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't tell me you know what he's saying. I'm trying to think of another guy. Sometimes Bob Dylan. It depends on what he like.
Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
That song, "To Fall in Love," beautiful song by Bob Dylan. But like all you know is like, to fall in love, you know, to fall in love with you. That's all you know. I don't know anything else like what he's talking about.
Okay, here's what I'll say is that that at least in those genres, who he's alluded to was the fact that there's some songs or most of the songs where you can pick out the words in, and also even in most of the songs where you can't pick the words out, there's at least a verse or a chorus where you can. I don't know what the fuck is being said in mumble rap. Just give me one word.
You know, okay, like all right, now this is my
It's
turn
an
to like
unpopular
shout. Okay,
opinion.
okay.
Give me one
So
word.
you got okay. So you got like Young Thug and like what? You got Playboy Cardi, right? You got you got certain songs like where it's that's not English, but there's other songs where it's like, you know,
Missy Elliott did stuff in reverse, and that's crazy.
that's cool,
How am I
but
supposed
that's-
to know? How am I supposed to know what she's saying?
Yeah, but that's not the same thing. She was actually pretty like she was articulate.
Whatever.
But like okay, like,
I feel like the only Missy Elliott like hater, like whatever.
the thing
Speaks of reverse, man.
The thing-
Can't stand that shit.
the thing
You're
about
gonna sing forward, all right?
she did that, bro. That was crazy. That she did
I
it in
know
reverse,
it's
though.
fucking amazing.
The Young Thug, like I remember the old meme was what, like when he would be, I'm a stoner, I'm a stoner, I'm a stoner. That's all you knew, right?
Yeah.
And that's true. And like there's a song I really love by Young Thug called Family Don't Matter. I know about like I want to say 55% of those lyrics.
Those are good numbers.
That's
for that
decent
genre.
numbers for
Yeah.
Thug, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But then again, like you gotta think, like there's certain when you get used to listening to it, and like when you talk about the lingo, like because I don't know, you guys might be in the lingo. I don't know if y'all in the streets or not. I don't know what y'all doing.
Streets
But it's
every
like
night, bro.
it's so when you talk about the lingo, like you get what some of the stuff they're saying is, right? So like their new like when slime language came out. First of all, I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this record, and I loved it.
Slime language.
Slime language, y'all gotta listen to it.
Okay.
I loved it. It's got that song "Ski" on it.
Ski.
No,
I don't know.
Not quite, but you know,
Big fan.
A for effort.
Big fan. A forever.
A for effort. So it's got that song "Ski On." It's got Liddy with the baby. It's got like No Surprise. It's got Don Toliver, and it's like some of the stuff is like again you get the lingo with what they're talking about, but sometimes you know it's fucked up about mumble rap. Sometimes you fuck around and you like hear exactly what they're talking about, and it's like what the fuck. Like there was a song called "Nothing for Free" by Gunna, and there's a song. I mean, that's not a song. It's a lyric where he goes, "Pull out my dick and I piss on her," and then like you fuck around and hear that, and it's like, you know, and it's like that's a little
That's
crazy.
prolific. Yeah,
That's
I
a
love it.
little crazy, right? It's
Yeah.
like way, and it's but they say it's mumble rap fast, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like things like that, and I don't even know why. Like, the more you listen to it, like I said, sometimes the more you listen to it, but if you already know the lingo, you catch it.
You know what else? And I understand that because when I was in high school listening to hip hop and I'd show my dad stuff, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about,
Yeah, right.
And I get like that perspective like now. However, if I just spent most of my days comparing dumps that my friends took, right? Just like
What?
just taking dumps in toilets, okay?
Okay.
And just like looked at them and it was like, you know, after a while I could start to appreciate the shapes that were coming
Well, no,
out.
no,
And I
okay,
could-
okay,
and
let's-
the smells that you know, just a difference in like how
fuck,
you know what I
man?
mean? Like that's what I'm saying.
Weird
It's like-
analogy.
no, it's not because at a certain point, like when we're comparing things to each other,
Well, let's
in the
not-
context
let's-
of each other,
let's not-
right? That's fine.
yeah.
But like when we're talking about like, you know, how can most deaf exist? And then we're talking about some of these other new guys coming out in that community, talking about how they're the greatest. But just most deaf just exists still, right?
Well,
So it's like-
most Def had a Luke. We're not even gonna get in how lucrative and strange his career was to the point where he quit rapping.
Yeah.
But it's like we don't want to say like we don't want to compare mumble rap to shit because it's like again, it's like my dad said this shit too, and some people will be like, I don't agree, but kind of get what he's saying where he's like, look, man, there's rappers that rap straight bars, right? And there's rappers that do the mumble rap. And sometimes like that mumble rap, if you doing that shit with feeling, I feel that, you know, I feel that shit to my soul more than fucking bars sometimes. And again, I see
No.
looks.
I just that's my mumble rap name. Meaningful mumbles.
No, I see I see the looks. I see what y'all are thinking, but it's like again, it's all about
it's subjective. I get
it is subjective, but it's
Yeah.
like again, I could show you some songs that are quote unquote mumble rap that bang, and the honest truth is sometimes we don't know what people are saying in songs at times. That doesn't mean it's not good. Like the production on some, like I said, Slime Language, I love the record.
I'm not. So let me just clarify. I am in no means talking about the production and what the producers do.
No. I know
they
that.
Crush what they do.
No. I mean, I'm saying everything as a whole. Like, I am a Young Thug fan. You know, I do like Young Thug. I do like pretty much everybody that's out now. Like Playboy Cardi, yeah, a whole lot of red with some bullshit. You know, because he had everybody wait like 2 years for that fucking record and then stopped talking to Iggy Azalea, which is his baby mama, and all that shit, and neglected his son. You did all that, and the record wasn't shit. It's like, all right, man, like get it together. But
at least put together a coherent sentence if you're gonna abandon your
okay.
son.
And again, I see like again, I've had this. It's like what I was talking about earlier with like different groups, right? Because you
Yeah.
can't explain some things to jazz musicians, or you can't explain some things to rock musicians, and you can't explain some things to hip hop guys, right? Or guys that like rap or whatever. But it's like, again, it's a cultural thing. And if like you're not down with the lingo, if you're not down with what they're talking about, you're not down with the image, if you're not even from where they're from, then you kind of do miss it. Right?
Totally. I understand that. I
Because
just-
the vibe of the songs are hard.
so they're
Like,
just speaking a different language then. I just have to
I-
yield to that.
Colloquialism, if you will.
It's one thing if we're like shrouding, you know, concepts, you know,
Right.
if we're using existing words or concepts to describe a completely different concept, right? That's one thing, right? But I don't like their mouths are forming different shapes and like different words that don't exist in the language.
Well, okay, I'll say this. Have you ever listened to a Young Thug song before?
It's quite possible. I don't know most of the artists in that genre by name,
Okay.
but I'm sure that I have. Who did that Panda song?
That was a Designer.
Top 5 worst songs.
I got
ever
bras in
written.
that song was hard, man. I don't know.
I
Like,
literally want to like when I hear that
Oh,
song,
man.
I want to take a gun and shoot myself in the face.
Oh,
Wow.
come on now. You sound like a purist now. You start to sound like
What
a
they
purist.
should do, I think that they
I'm not
should.
without flaws.
Okay.
You know?
It's like, okay, perfect example. When that song came out, we used to clown him because, like, yeah, you couldn't understand a lot of what he was saying. But he acted like a fool because we used to be like, man, no wonder he sound like that. He got like 42 extra teeth in his damn mouth or whatever. Like, it was shit like that. And then we used to clown him. He was like, he kind of sounded like Future. That was the controversial thing, that he sounded like Future. And then I saw this this little video. This guy's like, man, you know what? We arguing about Designer and Future being the same, or Designer copying Future. You know what they should do? They should start a group. Because the only thing better than one Future is 2 Futures.
Oh, man.
So it's like,
That sounds wild.
And it's like, you know, again, that was like, Designer didn't really do much after that. Because it's like, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. What's that thing he did? Like that Timmy Turner. He be wishing for a butter. Like he says like African words in that.
Okay.
Think about that.
That's, you know what? Then that's an oversight on my part. If they're speaking a different language, I will yield to that. Right?
That's what you have to understand. It's like, and I grew up in a house where a bilingual household, or a bilingual sort of, you know, circle as far as blood or not, where my father taught me Spanish. He was my little sister speaks like 5 different languages. She's like 6, you know. My dad was on it. When I tell you he knows everything. Like my dad speaks Spanish, Arabic, Portuguese. His mom taught him Swahili because they believed that was the language that was going to unite Africa at the time. It ended up not being it. He's, he speaks Haitian Creole because, like, we also have Haitian blood, so the Haitian Creole is a big. I have songs in French and Haitian Creole as well as Spanish, right? And when you understand like dialects and things like that, and I'm not trying to get so deep into, okay, I know different languages, so I understand mumble rap. That's not what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it would be a pretty.
What I'm getting at is when you spot certain things, because Designer is like, I think he is of like direct African descent or whatnot.
It's like when you hear a lot of like the dance hall stuff coming out, and you're aware that
Oh, yeah, man.
there's patois and all that stuff. Right?
That's a like,
100%.
yeah.
And I grant, and like, which is why I was able to get into that kind of stuff, because I was like, okay, well, this is like aggressive, and I don't know what they're saying, but they're also using a totally different dialect.
It is a totally different
right?
dialect.
So that's something I could wrap my head around and kind of grant it like a little bit more, because it was like, I don't get this culture totally, and I know that I don't understand the dialect, so that's fine.
Okay.
With this kind of stuff though, I'm just like, if we're talking about like, you need to be like bilingual or multilingual to fully appreciate
again,
mumble rap.
that's not
that would
the-
be quite a stretch.
That's definitely straight. Okay, it's like this. I'll talk to you like, let's talk about lingo though, right? Let's talk about lingo.
No, I'm with that.
So
100%.
if I come up to you and I'm like, I go, I say, you asked me what I'm doing, right? You asked me what I'd done today, right?
Remember, I'm 10 years older than you, so grant me a little bit of stuff on the modern.
Well, okay, I
lingo,
like that.
you
So I'm
know
gonna
what I
keep it like, let's say you asked me what I did today, right? Mm-hmm. And I go, I got some magazines from the bookstore. What do you think that means?
I know that it means something totally different than what I think it does.
It means he had a trip to Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
Just take a guess.
Got some magazine from this bookstore. You jerked it?
No.
No, I don't know.
I have no idea. Like, does it just mean getting magazines from the bookstore? No, of course not. Is there like something like with guns involved? Okay, so you got magazines for a gun.
I went shooting. I went shooting. Or
Okay.
I went and got magazines from the books. I went and picked up a burner.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
made
you got
a cup
gun.
of
Okay,
noodles.
yeah,
Okay.
I understand what picking. Okay.
Okay.
But
or I
cup of noodles. Okay. Yeah.
Ma?
No, he was saying something totally different. He was being funny. Yeah.
No, I picked up, or I go, I'm trying to put you onto the drip.
I'd like
Yeah.
for you to
You know what
come
that means?
antiquing
Like-
with me on the weekend.
What? What?
I said I'd like for your family to come antiquing with me on the weekend.
Put you onto the trip? That's what you think that means?
Yeah.
Okay. That's his guess.
Yeah.
No, like the drip, just like you want to like make me hip to something.
But
Like,
I'm trying to put you onto the style. I'm trying to put you on the clothes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Drip.
I
I'm trying to put you on
drip,
that.
Yeah, I understand.
You know.
So that I understand all that. Again, like
Right.
the
Drip,
the,
drip,
the,
drip.
the
Yeah.
lingo is slightly different when I was in high school and like when I was a little bit younger in the hip hop stuff. So like I understand all that. I'm just saying that.
But that's what they. But my thing is that it's a little bit faster. But that's what they be saying in the songs.
Oh, okay.
It's like that. That's the lingo.
they're just
So if
not
you-
fully forming the words.
Yeah, well, not even fully forming what they'll say it like they say it, and they say it, and it's like it's quick.
Yeah.
You know, but and it's like it's over with. It's some people in Atlanta too. You gotta understand. This
The
is where
accent.
Atlanta's coming. This is at the hub for this is Atlanta.
Yeah.
People from Atlanta talk like that.
Yeah.
believe
totally.
it or not.
No, I
You know.
I get all that stuff.
They're literally like, you know, I was trying to, you know, there was a video where they'd be like, I can't understand. There was a video like, I can't understand nothing this chick is saying, right? And we like, everybody's like, some people like, we understand what she was saying perfectly. Because she was like, yeah, no, I was trying to take y'all to the mall, do whatever, and trying to put y'all into the drip, you know what I'm saying? Da 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 da. And then they was like, I don't know what she said. I was like, I got it perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm not even from Atlanta.
Yeah.
But it's just like the lingo where it's like, not even fully forming. What it comes across to your ear is not doing that, but it's like they're fully forming everything. It's like them going, oh, da 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 da. All right, you know, da da da, and it's like that. It's like a way of talking, to where it's like, okay, this and it's for everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
So like, and it's not all lingo. They'll say stuff you perfect English, like yeah, got that, and then they go back to saying how they talk. You know?
after this, because the concept that you're talking about, I'm fully, and this is a thing that Billy and I get in conversations about all the time, and why he doesn't like fully. Sometimes like there's things about hip hop where he doesn't fully grasp it or doesn't understand why it is the way that it is, and like I'm making the same case that you're making to me right now. When we're done here, I would love for you to show me,
Sure.
because I'm totally open to it. If I'm wrong about it, I will own that. I'm not hearing the same concept.
It's
being-
like, yeah. It's like if I say I had to do whatever, I had to do the $1.50. What do you think that means?
I don't know what that means at all. That was not a
So
saying when I was
$1.50
younger.
means a couple of things, but $1.50 means like you had to slash somebody in the face. Like
Okay.
it's like, you know, it's I don't mean to go to immediate violent shit. Like I said, the magazines and the $1.50, but that's all I guess that's all I know off the top of my head.
No, because it could be the same thing when I was in high school and like whatever like terminology was being used to describe things back then, right? Like hit a lick, you know what I mean?
That's yeah.
Yeah.
Or you ain't hit no. I can't trust you with no lick if you ain't robbed nobody. Like T Grizzly said.
Yeah.
Or you know yeah. That's what it is. That's
Totally.
still a thing.
I get all that, or you're a mark, you know, you're a walking mark, you know what I mean, or you're a walking lick, whatever it is. Like there's things that I'm very I understand how the whole thing works.
Easy
right?
lick, yeah.
There's just a lot of shit. It's just what I'm hearing now is not a reappropriation of words. It's just a lack of saying words.
But you also have to understand also the rhythmic part in it.
Right.
Like it's like you're trying to match the beat.
Right.
Like like that song Mask Off, where it's like Percocet, Molly Percocet.
I
Jason
literally
hate that song.
Hate
You don't like that song?
I like that song.
No,
And the Bronson Atlanta song too. Those songs are great. I'm dead serious.
I have a bit of a personal beef with that song because somebody told the bartender to stop me from playing and dock my pay just so they could put that song on the jukebox, right? So
Okay.
bit of a personal beef.
So
but
I
also,
didn't mean to bring up.
No, it's fair because it is. But like at the same time, when I heard that song come on, it was like you could have put on at least words that people. I don't know what they're. I'm just hearing OxyContin. That's all I'm hearing. What is the rest of the song? Like what are they saying? There's nothing. There's no words being said. That
I
can
actually
make
get it.
that.
I know that song's actually pretty coherent for Future.
Okay.
It's
where you're gonna show me. We got to move on to the next unpopular opinion. I want you to show me some stuff when we're done
I will.
here. Because if I'm totally open to changing my mind.
well, like we were talking about flow too. It's a culmination of things that make that music.
All of it. I'm so about all of those concepts.
Yeah.
and
This is my thing. This is what I do as a musician. Like anything, because I jump around in so many genres. Anything nobody wants to get into, I'm like, bro, let's get into it. Because you ain't heard this.
please get
And
in.
You know what I'm
please
saying?
get me into. I want to be into all of it.
Okay.
I can say that,
Bro, I'm
All
telling you, shit bangs. It bangs.
It bangs. Another thing the young kids are saying. Okay, so no cap, bro. No cap, bro. It bangs.
No caps.
Okay. I got a love-hate relationship with no cap because here's the
gotta say
thing.
no caps,
People
no
who say
caps.
no cap, we're not in Atlanta. We used to say that here like in 7th grade. That shit died. I don't know why people brought that shit back, but it's mostly like, okay, and it's not even like, it's mostly like people who are trying to like act like they're part of that part of the culture. And
Yeah,
people
it's
who
like
aren't
the
even
fucking-
black, they'll go like, yeah, man, no cap. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we stopped
Facts.
saying that here a long time ago.
Facts is my favorite one.
Another one.
Facts are
Facts.
straight. Facts are straight. Because that's the, and then here's the thing.
So the
The-
kid's still saying straight because I used to say straight, but I was
Straight
straight is fine.
Straight, okay.
Facts are straight, but it's like there's a direct lineage between here and New York. New York is here, Florida's up there.
Yeah.
So it's like we can do that. We can take the lingo. Like I know somebody who just moved from New York, and I get everything. Now, yeah, I got family in New York and everything, but it's like New York and Jacksonville, and New York and Florida like this, because everybody who wants to go, wants to retire from New York, they move where?
I'll take
To
you.
Florida.
Come,
I like
come
bus-
to Miami. I'll take you to New York.
I like bussin' a lot. That's my favorite one. I think bussin'.
But like busting.
Like this garlic bread's
That shit
bussin'.
busting.
Okay.
That shit busting.
It's
Speaking
just bussin',
speaking
dude.
of Italian food, American cheese is hot garbage.
American cheese has its place for sure.
No, it doesn't. It
you
belongs
can't put it
nowhere.
on a grilled cheese
No,
sandwich.
here's the
No,
thing.
use good cheese on a grilled cheese. Are you fucking kidding
Just
me?
Uncle
literally
Ed.
anything.
Here's the thing.
McDonald's
I'm okay. Like
cheeseburger.
That's my unpopular opinion. By the way.
American cheese is straight. It's Swiss that I can't get into.
Swiss is great too.
You know what? The thing, at least Swiss cheese is like a cheese. I don't know what American cheese is like. Plastic that's just painted yellow.
These colors
and they
don't
try
run,
and
bro.
sell you as cheese.
It's America.
American cheese is an abomination to cheese.
American cheese? You think so?
I mean, it's not. Food.
It's not great. It's not great.
It's
for
not
sure.
food.
It's not food.
It's not food. It tastes like if you just took a crayon and then like
what?
coated it.
I know, right? He says it's so
a
weird.
crayon.
Oh, what?
He says it like
How do you
like,
say crayon?
Crayon.
Crayon or
Crayon.
crayon?
Oh, crayon.
You guys are fucking crazy.
Yeah,
What
we're
the
the
fuck?
weirdos.
No.
Crayon.
Wait. Did we not have a discussion about when we talk about key signatures like, oh, white? You
Yeah.
say crayon?
Crayon.
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 How do you say it, Chelsea? Crayon.
That's so
Must be
weird.
a South
What?
Florida
It's a
thing.
North Cuban thing.
North Cuban thing.
I've
yeah.
never heard a Cubano go crayon because they don't even know how to say
They
it.
don't know how to say it.
All right, exactly.
Crayon.
You come to this country.
Crayon.
You buy a
Right.
box
They
of
put a G at
crayons.
the end of it.
Right.
I don't know where like it's a like they put a G at the end of crayon.
Yeah, crayon. Well, it's like it
Sandwich.
falls off. It's like
That's my favorite,
Like
Mike.
with like Dominican Spanish, it's like your B's or V's and everything. Like we
Yeah,
say,
Dominicans are
Porta-
hardcore with that.
Bro, it's like por favor, like you say por favor, like we say it like with the L, like por favor, but you wouldn't. You're like it's not
Whoa.
the L's or the R's, but you
Right.
wouldn't know that. Like it's how fast we talk.
Yeah.
Like por favor or lambón or like the way we do certain things. Esperando, like we take the S out of things. Like, yeah. Like it's like you say esperando, like I'm waiting. Aquí esperando, here I am waiting, but no, it's aquí esperando, like you.
How do you say? How do you say? I don't want to.
No quiero.
No. Sorry. Like I don't, or I don't like that. Like I don't like that.
It depends. So if it's
No me gusta. Everybody knows.
you say,
All right. So like no me da la gana.
no, you say no me da la gana. Yo sé cosas like it's like yo lo hago lo que me da la gana. Like I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I don't like no me da la gana. Yeah, or it's like
But like, how do you say that phrase in particular?
in particular, I just be like
No me da la gana. Like you pronounce it, like you enunciate the letters, right?
you just like curse if you don't like something. You're like mama huevo. Like you just like nah.
No, but like when you say no me da la gana, how do you say that phrase?
no me da la gana.
Yeah, you said that right there.
Yeah,
right?
no me da la gana. Like no me da, like just like it's a fast like no like same thing like Bad Bunny saying yo hago lo que me da la gana. Like I do whatever I want, or like yeah, no me da la gana. I'm not into that, or like
Or,
you know.
but like Hialeah, like Cubans in Hialeah, no me da la gana.
Yeah. Well, it's like
You
it's
just
like.
don't like, there's no pronunciation.
No me da la
of the
gana.
word.
Well, okay.
No me da la gana.
I'm a little bit more articulate of a Dominican, so it's like
You're Americanized.
don't take what I say, versus like how my dad talks or
Yeah.
how my people talk. Like, yeah, don't. Me, I'm a little bit more Like, cause I like to be, but no, like,
My uncle, like when he gets my uncle does a Hialeah shit so well. He's like, "Oye con soto, bro." It's just like,
no,
bro, that is gross.
no, like, no. Okay, well, I not like we're not like it's not about like the way like Dominicans talk sometimes like it's like it's cut off, but the way like we do talk, like we don't say como estás, we say como tú estás. We put the tuta or like it's cold, like tuta frío or no tatu frío. I walked out because a guy I actually work with, he's Cuban, and I walked out. I was like, that room is cold. I didn't even say anything. I was like, tatu frío. He's like, I know, right? I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck. Why is it cold back here? You know?
In
So it's like,
in Kentucky, we call beanies toboggans.
so the hick English consists of these, consonants.
A shopping cart is a buggy. Actually, I don't know if
Like
you
it
knew
is
that.
everywhere else. I'd like to point out.
No, that's some fighting words. You go up north.
Yeah. Well, again, so this is what I'm saying is like Jacksonville.
We're all
like,
different,
no,
but we're all the
so
same.
Jacksonville is still very southern compared to South Florida, which is much more of a
much more southern.
Well,
Geographically
but,
speaking.
first like the Latin influence from Cuba and South America, but then also the New York influence, which is like every kid that I went to grew up in New York or what is like,
Dominicans in New York. Oh my god.
and that's what half the population of my school is Dominicans from New York or Cubans from Miami or Venezuelans like right from Venezuela.
Venezuela, bro.
So-
Here's the thing, like the music. I gotta give it to the Cubans. I gotta give it to the Cubanos. Like, and I know we didn't like get to talk about this, but like the Cubanos, like they had the best music for decades. Like I'm talking Celia Cruz. I'm talking Rolando La Serie. I'm talking fucking
Tito Puente, man.
Tito Puente. Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
Dude, Tito Puente. Like all those guys. Like the best music. Like Cuban music. Like the Cubanos. Like they knew. Like I was on the way here trying to like get through traffic, and like Arecotina Recotan came on by Rolando La Serie, and it's like, bro, these guys, and it was culturally what they were doing was pushing forward because all the Cubanos were what? Dark.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
a lot of them. Yeah.
a lot of them. There were more black doctors in Cuba in Havana than the whole United States. You think about that, right?
It's an easy number to pull off.
It is.
I mean,
It is.
There's a lot. It's a very small.
Right. It is. But the
Yeah.
thing about it is, it's like this. It's like you couldn't deny these people when you obviously know how the colorism game works in these three islands.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, Cuba, La República Dominicana, all these places, the colorism barrier and all these things that go on, it's bad. But the thing about it is, like Puerto Rico, they hide it's in the music industry, okay? What? You got the whole Daddy Yankee versus Tego Calderon thing, right? Now, who was better? Tego Calderon. Like, he was the guy that pushed the forward. He's the father of
Reggaeton.
Puerto Rican reggaeton. Exactly. Right? Everybody goes, you hear Nati Natasha, or it's like all these guys like, yeah, I really think Daddy Yankee, he was like the forefront of that. And it's like, nah, he was like the guy, the light-skinned dude
he
they
had the
put
right look,
the
yeah.
put in front of somebody that looked like me.
Yeah, exactly.
But Tego was like, he pushed so many boundaries. The music was better. Somebody was about to bring that up to me the other day. It's like, yeah, well, you Puerto Ricans, are you familiar with reggaeton? I'm like, yeah, well, do you know? I was like, I know what you're about to say. Daddy Yankee versus, Tego Calderon. Tego Calderon pushed so many, and he's the guy. Like, if I saw him, I would collapse because it's like the guy pushed so much, and it's like, again, what do you see? Like, what this is meme I got. I'll show you after where how Puerto Ricans look with the bangs and like the Cartier glasses, how they look, stuff. That's every cookie cutter Boricua artist you see.
Yeah, totally.
Except for Bad Bunny. That was him for a second till he like changed his look up, right? But the dark artists, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. I remember the year when Jennifer Lopez, Shakira, and they brought out J Balvin and even Bad Bunny. My dad called me the next morning. I didn't give a shit about the performance. I was like eating dinner and I was like, whatever, and I went to bed. My dad called me the next morning. This dude was hot. Like, he was so upset. Like, he called me like shouting in unbelievable octaves. And I'm like, 7 in the morning, like, what, Dad? He's like, so you saw that shit last night? Yeah, I saw it. It's like, you know what that shit means for you, right? I was like, no, I don't. discombobulated from waking the fuck up so early. And like, yeah, no, it's like, you used to be your color was accepted. Now they just said they just want white people.
Oh,
That's
boy.
what they just said. They want all light-skinned white people. That's what they want. So it's gonna be twice as hard for you. You had like Aventura helping you out, but now like no, they didn't put them in the Super Bowl. They got J-Lo, they got fucking Bad Bunny, they got Shakira, they got fucking J Balvin. They just said they want white people. They don't want you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Dad, is there like, you couldn't yell at me like about this like later on in the day, but he was hot. He was so upset. But the thing about it is, I get his point and how again integrating into the industry.
I mean,
how that
bro,
thing works.
like the thing,
Because the Puerto Ricans, they're outwardly telling you that because they literally do that.
bro. I mean, yeah, like the racism is thick in Latin culture.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so like you think that like it's denied in America. No. It's so
people don't get
flagrantly-
it.
It's so flagrantly denied in these Latin countries where it's like they're literally referring to black people just by the color of their skin, and then
Maldita negro.
yeah,
Cocolo.
exactly,
right?
exactly,
Yeah, right?
and it's just shit like that, and then it's
Are
like,
you gonna get canceled?
and it's just like,
Not if I say it.
yeah,
Oh yeah, all right.
and it's just like, and then on top, there's an assumption of the class based on that. It's so just that. So oh no, but we accept but you accept everybody on the terms of their class and the color of their skin, right? Like my abuela would always say that kind of stuff. I was like, I'm not racist, but like all of our maids were black. I would drive them home after they worked. I was like. But then you also I love my abuela was awesome to us,
Sure.
right? Different time
Different
and totally different country, right?
Right.
So like when she came here, just like I just don't understand why they have to all be on television, shit like that. You know what I mean,
Bro, okay.
It's just
you know what's
like
funny? You know what's so funny? My dad, we were in Hollywood, Florida, like for my last birthday.
that's where I'm from.
That's where you from?
Yeah.
That's a great city. That's where my
No,
aunt
it's
lives.
not. It's the armpit of South
I
Florida.
can
but-
laugh. So we're there, and my dad is because you get Telemundo for free down there, right?
Yep.
So he's
Really?
down.
One
we're
of
in
my
the-
best friends, his dad was the anchor on Telemundo.
So
yeah.
we're sitting there.
Cool.
I'm in the hotel. I'm chilling.
For
He's sitting there
free.
flipping.
It's just a regular channel.
He's sitting there flipping, right? Because we have to pay for it here, right? We have to pay, which is some bull ass shit.
Channel 51.
Right.
What's up? Fucking basic cable, baby.
I'm saying, which is garbage. That sucks. so he's flipping through Telemundo, and he's like, man, I don't even want to see all this shit. All these people are light. There's not a single dark person on this
Yeah.
shit. Fuck this shit. And I'm like, why are you so upset? But I get it. Because that was the culture he grew up in. That was what I wasn't directly exposed to, but I read all the stories. I saw everything. I saw, bro, if you watch the Celia Cruz biopic, because she's Cubano. If you watch the Celia Cruz biopic, which is also on Telemundo, and I had to like DVR it because I couldn't fucking pay for Telemundo because I wasn't down there when it came out, So I watched the Celia Cruz biopic, looked at most of the scenes up on YouTube, and so watched it, and man, dude, the story of, she had a lighter sister, about a little bit lighter than me. Celia was dark, right? They were going to this marketplace where all the musicians would play. And Celia wanted to sing. Celia had a beautiful voice, obviously, right? Her sister could sing too. She sang pretty good. Not as good as Celia though, right? She's like, I want to sing. And then they like, you can sing in a second. They bring her sister up. She sings, right? They're eating her up. She's beautiful. She's light-skinned. Great, right? Celia's sitting down. She doesn't understand what's happening. She doesn't understand why this is going the way it is. She's just sitting there. And then like her sister singing, and then she starts like just vibing and singing behind her sister, right? And then the whole room stops. And they go, what the fuck? And they let Celia sing. That was the beginning of like her, basically the jump start of her career, right? There were talents that she had. You couldn't deny her even though she was dark. It was the same thing with Rolando La Serie. There was nobody else that could do what he did. There was nobody else could do what she did. Tito Puente the same. Tito Puente was lighter, but he was playing with all these guys.
Right.
And the same thing is like a great thing to see where the color barrier was broken. Because Hector Lavoe was a lighter guy, but still one of the greatest male salsa singers of all time. Now, it's fucked up that J-Lo ruined the biopic because Mark Anthony was perfect until she made it about her. Like, we was a fuck about Hector's wife. We didn't know her. We don't know who she is. But Hector, one of the greatest salsa singers of all time. And you got somebody who's singing salsa in the modern day, Mark Anthony, who was perfect. I remember seeing a video of him singing Aguanile before he got the part, way before he got, this is around like Contra la Corriente, when that album came out, and he's singing Aguanile, and it, dude, he was perfect. There's another thing J-Lo ruins, because she sucks. I'm just kidding. That's going to get back on him.
Fine.
She
is fine.
Yeah, her.
At
least her
see,
hips
okay, here's the
don't
thing. Here's the
lie.
thing me and my dad do too.
That's wrong.
We always go like, my dad's like, bro, my dad has ranted. What'd you say?
I said her hips don't lie.
Wrong artist.
My wrong artist.
Yeah.
My dad my dad is ranted. Like he's like, bro, the Puerto Rican women, I can't do it. Like the ass is not like, it's not that great for me to be. He'll say that shit. And on top of that, he'll go like, the Boricua women, they don't age well. And that's true. They actually are the worst.
Jennifer Lopez is crushing the game right now.
She is,
She
but
looks
how much Botox
good.
is she taking?
I don't know, Chelsea. She knows better than I do.
I don't think she does Botox. I think she has good genes.
She does have good genes. She might have, again, but the African genes from
Yeah,
that, right?
100%.
She doesn't
Maybe,
like herself with drugs
but
and alcohol.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
thing that's
takes
the
care
thing
of
about
herself.
it. But like most of the Puerto Rican women, and I can't believe I'm saying this on like a podcast, but like that's what my dad is like, man, I don't know if I can do it, man. I just can't do it. I don't see the point.
Yeah.
But it's like going back to what's the Celia thing, it was like they had talent that you couldn't deny, even if they were dark. And a great display of that where the color barrier was broken, which is a great night. One of my favorite live performances is the Ali Frazier fight. Okay? You had everybody there. Pretty much all the influences that rolled into one for me. You had B.B. King, you had the Spinners. James Brown headline closed the show. You had Hector Lavoe, the Fania All-Stars, right? The big band, right? Then Celia comes out. But you know it was a powerful moment when Celia came out because the Africans looked at her and saw somebody that looked like them.
Right.
Singing in a different language. Seeing her fly high and what she was doing, and they looked like that. That whole concert was powerful.
Totally. And I think the kind of thing that makes it more like even more powerful is like the argument like that people can make is like, well, somebody that looked like that did succeed, but it was like somebody that looked like that had to be that good to succeed.
Right,
you
but
know?
that's the thing. That's
yeah.
the whole thing about the whole these are conversations
Yeah, totally.
that you have as somebody who is of color. You have to be twice as good. You have to be twice as this to get half of what some of these people do.
Totally.
And people will say, "Oh no, that's you playing victim." No, there's never been a victim mentality that existed within that line of thinking. It's just been how the way things work.
It's a simple numbers game. There are more people that look a certain way in this country. People that look a certain way relate to other people that look a certain way, and that's what they're going to be drawn towards. In order to appeal to the people that look a certain way, you have to stand out significantly more.
That's
right?
why, right?
I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm saying that's objectively the truth.
There's a
I mean?
thing like where there's an underlying racist tone to it.
Yeah, I mean it's
and not that everyone partakes in that, but
there's people that do partake in the racism
Right.
side of it for sure. There's a population, but it's also like there's a natural, I think, instinct to gravitate towards people that look like you because on the surface they represent your experience.
I
You know
guess
what
I
mean?
don't. I guess I kind of don't understand that because I gravitated towards people that don't look like me at all.
Totally, but
And it's
because you live in that culture where predominantly people don't look like you, so there was no choice.
But it's not
to
that.
kinda-
It's like I felt power when I feel powerful when Jimi Hendrix is up on stage and somebody looks like me. I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel power when Rolando La Serie is doing his thing or when Celia Cruz is doing their thing.
Right.
I feel power when somebody like Thundercat is crushing it. I feel powerful when all these artists that are of color. But it's like when something grabs me, something moves me, and it doesn't matter what
I
the
see what you're
color
saying.
is. And the thing about it is there's the thing about it is you have to address the elephant in the room when it comes to addressing these situations, even thinking about or talking about these situations, is we have to not act like there's not or even that there's a minimal version of it where there's an underlying racist tone. Like we were talking about
Totally,
in
yeah.
our cultures as a Cubano, as a Dominicano or Haitian, where there is a racist factor
Totally,
that
yeah.
applies to if you're putting the lighter people on brochures to get them to come to your country and the predominant color of your country is darker. what do you think is going to happen in the music industry and things like that? And it's things like that where it doesn't have to exist in people that speak different languages, man. It's like Brazil, okay, Cuba was one of the last places in the planet to outlaw slavery. One of the last places. And they still exist under dictatorship, so you don't know how much better that got.
Right.
But Brazil was another place where it's like one of the last places to outlaw slavery not that long ago.
Right.
And there's a colorism barrier, but there's people that look like me and even darker, you know? And that's the thing about, we have to acknowledge, like, we can give people credit and we can act like, okay, everyone's not bad. And no one's saying that. But we have to acknowledge that these things have an intentional purpose behind them to where, okay, it's like you were saying, it's people, they're gravitating to what they're used to seeing. I don't know if I believe that, because if people were dancing and shucking and jiving to James Brown back in the day and they were all white, if they were shucking and jiving to Little Richard back in the day and they were all white, if they were doing all this, it doesn't matter how you look. But here's the thing that bit them in the ass is Little Richard was still flipping burgers while he had a #1 hit out.
Right. So, and to kind of capitalize more on that, again, the burden that they had to bear, that they had to cope with, was that they had to be that good, right? It was
Twice
like,
as good,
yeah,
or not,
that's
you know?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like there couldn't be somebody like I'm trying to think of like who was a mediocre performer that was white, but like that was like super popular. But yeah, I mean, just the thing was, like, you couldn't just be like mediocre and succeed at that time if you were going to be black. Like, you had to be like not just great. Like,
You had to stop. There's the whole show.
There's
right?
like Jerry Lee Lewis, who was amazing, right? But then there's Little Richard, right? Who was not just like a great pianist and a great writer, but was also like
the architect of rock and roll.
Yeah, and it's like and what Jerry Lee Lewis did with you know like playing, like, you know, putting his feet up, like Little Richard had to go above and beyond that as a performer, right, in order to get the recognition that he got, and still didn't see the success that Jerry Lee Lewis saw.
Not till later,
right? So that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like there's still that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
and all I'm saying is, like, yeah, we have to acknowledge, and I'm not saying that you weren't acknowledging. We have to acknowledge the fact that, man, until you do, you have to acknowledge it doesn't get better. It doesn't change. But you have to acknowledge the fact that there is a racist premise behind that. There's no reason why black parents tell you that. That's a conversation you have, and it's not just about music. You know, I had a black mother that worked in corporate America her whole life. She's married to a Filipino man. He's gotten farther than her. She got a promotion, but it was like not even an increase in pay. He's like way farther, and they've been working the same amount of time.
Yeah.
She's seen, and black women do, they catch hell. She's seen that type of thing. I was in a household where I watched, like, you know, that whole thing, and she never brought work home or anything like that, but it was like, you saw, like, she was getting there. Not even the defeat, like, you getting there, but I literally watched her marry somebody that got way ahead of her in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So that thing happens. And then put a black man in that situation. Oh, he's fucked. You know, and I don't mean to say that in such a passive way, but it's like, these are conversations you have with your children as a black mother, black father. I would not even for music. You got to be twice as good at certain things. And yeah, opportunities have opened where you don't have to be maybe in the regular working man stance, but at the same time, there's some things where if it's a hard line between a yes or no, you got to be bringing something way more than the other guy does.
I'm curious about this debate also, because like we had the same conversations growing up when I was a kid, like my dad having his experience, right, which was also a different time. I didn't grow up in that time, and I look, you know, white, so like, I didn't really have any problems. But like the conversation was still had, like, you know, the conversation about the police, the conversation about like racism,
right?
And
don't go out by yourself at night.
Yeah, like just like the certain kind of things where you're just like, you know, just be aware of certain things, you know.
And that's the thing about it. People are not aware of these conversations that are had in these households of either different races of whatnot. You know, it's hard to, it's like when people say, oh, it's hard to be a woman walking out at night. It's like, I got the same talk when I was a kid. Don't go out by yourself at night.
Yeah. Because
of the people that are supposed to protect and serve you, or there's people that out there that will do you harm just because of how you look.
Totally.
So people like, they're women that go, you don't know what it's like to not go out at night or be afraid. I do.
Yeah, it's a different kind of thing.
You know, it's a different kind of thing. I'm not saying that, not disparaging what women go through
Or
at
anybody's
all.
struggle. It's not like the point.
There's
is
not one better than the other.
Yeah, it's
but
just
it's like
a different kind of
I
thing.
do know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
That is a talk that every black mother or black father has. Most of the time, it's the black mother that has with their son. Look, if you're going out at night, I want to know where you are. Please don't be by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and we saw things like that come about where it's proven to you that there's reasons why they say that. The whole Jordan Davis situation, the whole Trayvon Martin situation, you know? Mm-hmm. That happens all the time, and shit like that don't make the news.
Totally.
Little black boys disappear. Little black girls disappear, you know? And we don't talk about this thing too often, but it's like when we talk about, oh, you don't know what it's like. I do.
Yeah, there's definitely a class thing that plays into that too, because there's a lot of situations that happen across race borders. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, race isn't a barrier to situations. I think as far as like things not getting talked about, there's plenty of people that just don't have resources or like access to media or like don't have the know-how to like to get their situation heard. There's a lot of things that kind of go untalked about.
It's that, but see, here's the thing. The thing about the talk about media is this, because everybody, when you get political, right, and people talk about, oh, you know, especially with politics, people are like, well, where do you get your news? I get my news from Fox, or I get my news from CNN. It's like, this is shit that's passed down, man. Like, if you know what's going on, you know what's going on.
I kind of stopped listening to news after Rush Limbaugh passed.
It's not
The real news.
It's like this, man. People want to depend on news. Like, somebody tried to tell me, man, black people are scared because of the way the media portrays it. It's like, man, black people watch the news, but we be knowing what's going on before that.
Yeah, totally.
It's not.
Totally.
No one strikes fear into our hearts
Like
from
society.
that. No, we know because it's happened.
Totally.
And try arguing. I've had to argue that to people, not even argue that, but like get you to understand. Like, look, man, this ain't this is being swayed by the left and the right and the Republicans and the Democrats. This is called being black in America.
Yeah.
This is called being a certain color in America.
If you have like an exposure to those cultures when you're younger, you hear the conversations happening, and you know that's
This is
the
called my
arguments with it.
grandfather being pulled over 20, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they was looking for some random black man.
Totally.
This is called like somebody I know being pulled over and them unlawfully pulling the keys out of his pocket while he's handcuffed to search his car. Yeah, you could beat the case, which he did. But it's like things like that. And even worse things I don't want to say on a podcast, you know. This is not stuff I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you how much, is going on and what circulates.
Totally.
And what you see a room full of people of color and they see a situation and they know how to react because they know the way things are.
Yeah, totally.
And it's nothing more hurtful or detrimental or demeaning when you know the way things are and people turn around and try to make excuses for the way things are or act like that's not the way things
Yeah,
are.
like you gaslight you and
and
shit.
defer it to that and go, oh, well, that's just the news or that's just Biden or that's just Trump. Nobody's talking about politics, man.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. I don't give a shit about any of that crap. Because it has nothing to do with me. It doesn't benefit me really in any way. Everybody's like, well, Donald Trump, he did more for this, and Barack Obama wasn't this, and Biden wasn't that. Man, it's a black dude in office. It's a rich dude who doesn't care about anybody but himself in office, and now we got a senior citizen in office. That's all I see.
Yeah. Feel that. Where did we land on American cheese?
That is not.
What the fuck? That was crazy.
Perfect timing on that. I've got to take such a wicked piss.
Well, let's wrap it up then.
I
He's
do
got to
too,
do some
actually.
unpopular opinion, though.
We can just wrap it up. It's like 3 hours long, man.
Oh, we're at 3 hours long?
Not trying to be
Did I
rude
go
or
over?
anything.
Because I'm so sorry if I did.
No, it's not. We're just fucking hanging out, bro. What's your unpopular opinion?
Unpopular. Oh shit. I had one, but I don't want to offend you, so I don't want to say
No,
it.
offend me. I don't get offended, bro.
I don't like the fact.
There you go.
Here we go. You said fact. You already offended me.
I don't like the fact that you can't say openly that you don't like the Beatles without somebody coming in like trying to like in like.
He said the one
somebody,
thing that might offend him.
That's what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying. So let me pick another one.
No, that's a good one. That's fair. The problem
Like-
is, I think that people say that they don't like the, and I'm not saying this is you because you're clearly well educated on music. So I believe that you've probably heard a lot of shit and it's just not your thing. Most people that don't like the Beatles haven't heard anything by them, or by the time they have, it was too late.
I like the Beatles.
too late.
Here's the thing.
made for kids,
I like the
all right?
Beatles separately. They're all badass separately. Mm-hmm. Except for John, he was like completely like
I think
whipped by Yoko Ono. I don't know what the fuck like that. I don't know what that was. But anyway, we're not gonna talk on that man's personal life. But McCartney, badass musician.
Mm-hmm.
Ringo,
I just want one drum
maybe
solo.
maybe a pot like
in the end, Abbey Road.
he keeps people are
Yeah.
like he keeps time, but then there's like professional drummer, and this is in me saying so. Don't
Bernard
get it.
Purdy went in there and did like what was a Hard Day's Night or one of the earlier records. Bernard Purdy played all the drums on that. 'Cause Ringo
Right. So
wasn't
there are
in the
people that literally.
studio.
I was talking to a friend of mine. He's in the Marine band. Like he's in the Marines and he plays drums in the Marines. I was like, yeah, Ringo Starr is like the shittiest drummer I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, god damn.
Well,
and so
There's a reason why he's not the only drummer in the All Star band.
right. George Harrison, love him.
Yeah.
To death. I
Creative
mean,
guy, yeah.
fantastic guy. My thing was like, they didn't even like each other. They were a concoction. They were forced to be together.
Yeah.
They didn't even like each other. So it's like, why do you expect me to like them?
Well,
And then again, they did have some decent stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it was like,
decent. I mean, they
Great stuff.
Changed the face of culture.
I get it, but at the same time, it's not too different from the whole One Direction premise where you put a group of guys together, you feed them songs, and then they come out and.
Ooh, that would be. I've got to pee so bad.
Badly.
This is-
You want to
it's-
take a break? Like, well, me and him will talk while you go.
No, man, let's just wrap it up. It's been like 3 hours. I'm so sorry and everything like that, but yeah, I think we just call it. And this is hilarious watching
We don't
them
have to
pay.
call. We can if y'all want to keep going. I'm down.
I can't.
No,
I'm
he
so
can't. He's
sorry,
gotta go
boys.
sleep.
I'm so sorry.
But I will say that it's a different thing. They got together on their own.
They
and they were writing
did,
songs,
but then
like,
when the machine stepped in, it was like.
yeah, there was more at stake at that point.
Yeah. And it was like it was just like me. It was like I get it, and they were a super group and they were very influential, but it was just like I guess I can say they didn't really do much for me. You know?
Fair.
So that's all I can say. As
so
far as
funny
that.
that he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom so bad. Yeah, the Beatles will suck. All right, whatever.
Yeah, no, it's painful. I'm about to piss my
All
pants.
right, all right.
Bro. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you
is
for having
awesome,
me.
man.
Thank you
Hell yeah.
so much. I
Hell yeah.
appreciate it. I'm
Absolutely.
sorry I talked through all
Absolutely.
the questions you were gonna ask.
No,
me.
I know.
If I don't have to reference that sheet, it's a great podcast.
Yeah, it's a great
Okay,
podcast.
well, thank you.
Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time.
Adios, muchachos.
Holy fuck. This is the worst I've had to pee in years.